Welcome back to episode 273 of the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast.
Well, Phil's been praying for a miracle, a trade to save the day. And now the good Lord answered him. Dylan's on his way. Sent Josh Norris packing like an old pair of boots. Now it's time for victory. No more wasted youth. Dylan Cousins is our savior, gonna lead us to the cup. Skates faster than McDavid, ain't nobody keeping up. Shoots like Connor Bedard, passes better than the great one. Phil swears this is destiny, says Ottawa's finally won. They said he was stuck in Buffalo, like a truck stuck in the mud. But now he's got that Senator's crest, and he's primed to draw first blood. Ain't no need for logic now, Phil's dream is burning bright. Says Dylan's got the hands of gold and a slap shot full of might. Dylan Cousins is our savior, gonna lead us to the cup. Skates faster than McDavid, ain't nobody keeping up. Shoots like Connor Bedard, passes better than the great one. Phil swears this is destiny, says Ottawa's finally won. Now the team's still losing, but Phil don't care. Says we just need time, he'll take us there. He's the chosen one, yeah, that's the word. And ignoring the fact we're still in third. Dylan Cousins is our savior, put his jersey in the sky. We'll be raising banners, oh Lord, it's ride or die. He's got hands like Dacia, hits like prime Lindros. Phil says just you watch, this team will never lose a loss.
That was awesome. Thank you so much. That was great.
Yeah, your guy.
Yeah,
going to change everything in the whole franchise history. You got him.
Yeah.
Dylan Cousins is your savior, Phil. So
my favorite cousin. Yeah.
That got weird. In a hurry. What's up, boys?
What?
What's
going on?
Big day today. Big show. We always say big show, but this is like really
No, it's a real
show.
big one. Is this the biggest?
Yeah. Oh, come on.
I would
Of
think
course.
so. Yeah. Yeah.
Louis is here. It's of course the biggest show.
Big old potato.
Hey!
Wasn't cool enough to talk to Bryan Trottier, but he's cool enough to be here on the show. So
Yeah.
hi, Louis.
Some of us have to work.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Like 3 weeks to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Crazy day. Can't wait for everyone to hear the conversation. Anything new and exciting other than Bryan Trottier?
Watched a lot of EX-2000 breaks today.
Why don't you put a pin in that, and we're gonna
Yeah.
spar. We're gonna have
That's what's
verbal
on my
battle
mind.
later.
That's what I did all day.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't even put on jeans today.
Got something on though.
Mm-hmm.
Pork chop pants? Are you rocking the pork chop pants?
No, I got my my medium comfies on. I'm going gray comfies today.
Have you introduced the new lady gal friend to pork chop pants? Just about those?
Yeah, she's actually folded my laundry the other day, so she's definitely seen it. Yeah.
Oh wow, moving quick.
Well, she's a mom. She's great. She's the like kindest person I've ever met. I'm just waiting for like the monster to come out.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know.
And she didn't throw them away or ask you like what weird like white elephant Christmas gift these were from?
Why I have many. You just saw me on that one day. Those are like my worst bottoms. I can wear way better pajamas or pajamas. I have both. I have pajamas and pajamas. So
We'll just take your word for it.
all right, I'll bring it to the expo. You guys will see.
Can't wait.
Well, believe it or not, Bryan Trottier is not our only guest today. Some might even say it's a bigger deal. We're going to bring him on right now. We
Let's go.
have Evan, aka Mad Dog Nab 78 he's the kind of the what do we call you in Discord? You're like the guy, the
manager, admin, moderator. I don't know, Discord king.
Yeah.
Some people have called you a pain in the butt. No, I'm kidding.
Well, he runs a tight ship. I mean, hey, that Discord has been rocking lately, and we wanted to have Evan here because we're trying to do fun stuff there, right? Point of this whole thing, right? To have fun. And Evan's been cooking up for 2 months now, a scavenger hunt that we're about to launch. And I just wanted to kind of let you explain to everyone sort of what we're doing for our patrons and Discord members.
Yeah, sure. So starting on the last day of the regular season, which is the 17th of April, all the way through the end of June, and the last day of the Stanley Cup final could be on, we're going to run a daily scavenger hunt with a pretty cool prize. Each day there'll be a clue.
Okay.
And really the goal of it is to have people kind of show off their cards and earn points by showing off their cards. So the first person's going to get to answer the clue correctly will get 5 points, and then within a certain time frame you'll get 2 points, and then until the next clue gets out you'll get 1 point. And so at the end of the contest, which ends on the 23rd, like I said, of June, the winner will get, if I can tell him, Josh, or you can.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, it's going to be a box of Black Diamond from 2425.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
so kind of a cool way.
Yeah, just some of the fun stuff that we try to do to keep everyone engaged, involved in Discord. And we mention that you get access to Discord, but of course we don't kind of talk about, it's not really like a secret society, but it has been growing. I don't know if you've noticed this, Evan, but it's been growing a lot. Lots of people engaged and meeting new people, and it's a good way for everyone to connect.
Yeah, really cool community. People show off their daily personal pickups, which is really fun. Kind of cool Harvey questions, card supplies, our own version of poo on your shoe or glow in your flow.
Nice.
Shipping shenanigans. What else is on there? I've got some other stuff. Show me your dogs. No Kobe sighting today, but he's been on there more than once, and so has my pups too. So as well as yours, Louis.
Do you find, Evan? Do you find a real community vibe? I don't pop in there as much as I used to. I haven't, but. Do you find the community is growing? It's small but mighty. It's growing strong. Like it's almost like a brotherhood, right? Like I don't want to use that word, but I'm going to use it. Yeah,
I think it's a really good. I mean, I think the right word is maybe a family. Like everybody kind of likes the same things, interested in the same things, or kind of talking about things in the same way. So it's a good place to, I think if you love the Gong Show and you love hockey cards and you kind of want more of that family experience, which is something I fell in love with when I found the show, Discord's a cool place for it.
Love it.
Yeah, it's just about us, people that have that common interest to find each other and make connections. And like we've had lots of friends come about our Discord, which is very rewarding to me, and people that have stayed together at the expo, rented houses, kind of like we have our chateau and stuff like that. And so thank you, Evan. I appreciate all the work you do. We mentioned it before, but since we have you here, you just concluded, what was it, 25 years in the military? 23 years, something like that?
23 years, 9 months, 11 days.
Wow.
Yep.
Way to be exact. Well, I love to, like, when we're talking about stuff and coordinating stuff, you're still a military guy, because you're like, let's do it at 1300. And I'm like,
that doesn't make sense.
And like, carry the 1, divide by 2. What time are we talking about?
0700. That'd be better.
Yeah, 0700.
That's 7 a.m. by the way.
I get confused on any other time. So
anything before noon.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Just minus 12. That's all I've ever done, right?
See
you at 1700, minus 12, 5.
Stop.
Wow.
It's because you don't get confused as much as I do. Doesn't mean you have to brag about it.
It's not a math show, though, guys.
No.
Yeah, it's definitely not a math show. Well, keep up the good work. The community is better because of you and our Discord. And thank you again for your service, and congratulations on your retirement.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Evan.
Again, thanks to Evan popping on the show, giving us some Discord update. Can't wait to see how that scavenger hunt works out. I'll probably be terrible at it, but I'm terrible at most things. Well, tomorrow night, Phil, Big Friday Night with Phil. What's going on? What do you got on the dock? Ooh, look at you, superhero.
Wow. Yeah. So for the record, I didn't make that picture.
You did. You actually sent it to us, and in a letter from an attorney, you said we have to use it or
I'm
you
a
will
proud,
sue the. I think the quote was the bejesus out of us.
Mhm.
proud Canadian boy, and you stick me in a Captain America outfit. Come
That's
on,
not Captain
man.
America. That's Captain All Star.
What? Anyways,
Captain
and
America doesn't wear that
I'm
goofy
more
helmet.
of a Punisher, Venom kind of guy,
Oh,
anti-hero,
please.
whatever.
Please.
Yeah, no, we got a great show. Dave's going to hang out with us again. Hasselhoff will be there, and we have a great guest, Maxime. He's an Ottawa guy, and he's a big business guy, and he's also a big set collector. We're also going to be giving away a box of EX-2000, and I will be opening my box, and it should go pretty quick because there's only 2 cards in the pack, so it'll probably take longer to rip the pack than it will to look at the cards.
I'm
we're
keeping
excited.
score of all these EX-2000 digs for later on in the show. Now, Maxime, is that a common name in Canada? Because what
French.
is now immediately familiar is the guy that ripped off all the SPA cases. It's not that
Oh,
guy.
it's in there. Is his name Maxime as well?
I think Maxime Brown, wasn't it? Something like that?
Oh yeah, I know that was. Yeah, it's a very common French name,
Mm.
like Rock, R-O-C-H, like Rock Voisine.
Really?
You
Never
guys
heard
know who Rock Voisine is?
Nope.
Nope.
No, he's a good singer.
Mm,
Anyways,
okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, everyone, look forward to 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night, Friday nights with Phil. Always a
Mhm.
good time. Got to give our hockeychecklist.com update, which we own. It's ours. It's not a sponsor.
Yeah.
We had another round of minor updates published to the site. Minor but important, I would say. There's a new, like it says new badge that lets you know which checklists are new and recently published. Lasts for a week. We improved the search quite a bit. It was not so great, and now it's great. So happy about that.
Greater.
Greater.
Like a little kid.
Greater. And been very busy adding more checklists to the site. So now the entire O-Pee-Chee Platinum run is up. And so from 2014 to 2023, it's all there. And then we added 5 to 6 vintage sets, like a 1920 set, a bunch of 1950s. Yeah. So things are progressing. Lots of people on the site. And just a quick reminder, if you want to help some brothers out here, if you open up any card on the site and expand on the details, there's that eBay link. And we get a small commission if you click on that link, which takes you to eBay for any card you buy on eBay. It doesn't have to be that card that you clicked on within 24 hours. It helps us, add some more features to the site, hook a brother up sort of thing. So thank you very much to the people who are already doing that and are willing to take that extra step.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Last mention. 2 more quick mentions. I got to mention our Gongshow partner and sponsor, GP Sports. I'm very grateful to Grant and crew for their continued support of our show. If you want to get into a break of like the new 2023-24 EX-2000, some Series 2 stuff they might still be doing. They do their big Friday night mixers, which are awesome breaks. Or if you don't have the money or they're sold out, because honestly, that happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fun to watch on the GP Sports Cards YouTube channel. And Phil's a moderator. So
I am.
I think that's why you bought that superhero. Because people make you tend to like really take things like very literally at times where you're like, I think you equated being a moderator as a superhero because it's the only title anyone's ever given you. And so I think that's where that came from. But
I've had many
in the chat.
titles, sir. I've had many titles, and we shall not repeat them.
Oh, we will.
All right.
So again, go to gpsportscards.com, get all your break spots, and have fun. Not that they need a ton of promotion; they're busy as all can be, anyways. And then lastly, to tie in, I guess why Evan was here to talk about like our scavenger hunt and stuff. We are a Patreon podcast. What we really rely on the support of listeners and viewers like yourself to help cover our show expenses, continue to produce more and better hockey card content, and then fund initiatives, even in a small way to grow the hockey hobby. It's very easy to support us. You can do it for as little as $5 US a month. Be one of the first 299 supporters of our show. You get access to our Discord server when you do, and can do stuff like scavenger hunt or fantasy hockey or 5K challenge, which is coming up. I know Louis is very excited to tabulate all that up.
Yep.
And just support the show. If you want to support us, don't go through the iTunes app because they have a tax that Apple takes. Go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, click on the Become a Patron link, maybe on your computer, or go to Patreon directly, patreon.com, search for Hockey Cards Gong Show. There's a link in the show description, both YouTube and the podcast apps, and then our Instagram and TikTok profiles as well. Louis, you ready with the game plan?
Yes, I am. Now that I caught up a little bit. So today, get to know your Hall of Famers. And then, hold on to your seats, boys. We have a conversation with Bryan Trottier. Following that, we'll get into some hobby news. Then it's the highly anticipated hobby over underrated. And then it's some new product releases and personal pickups.
Alrighty. We get to do 2 get to know your Hall of Famers
Yeah.
today, right? That's kind of cool.
Oh, the
One-
Bryan Trottier thing.
Yeah.
yeah.
Hall
I
of
get
Famer.
it now. Yeah.
Newsflash. Breaking news. Wait, where's the breaking news sounder?
Mm.
Okay. Let's get rolling. Get to Bryan Trottier. So we're still working our way through the 1958 Hall of Fame class in our Get to Know Your Hall of Famers series. It's where we take a look at the lifetimes, hockey career, and hobby market for every single Hockey Hall of Fame player. We started with the very first Hall of Fame class in 1945 and have been working our way to present day. There's 15 players that were inducted in the 1958 class, and today we're on, I think, number 7 from that class and our 39th profile overall. We've done this almost 40 times already, if you can believe that. And the player that we're going to learn about is a goalie, Alec Connell. Anyone?
Hey.
Anyone? Alec Connell?
No. Bueller.
Bueller. Pretty. We haven't done too many goalies to this point, so I'm excited to switch it up. Okay, let's get to know a little bit about Alec. I hope he played in that hat. Please
Yeah,
tell me he played in
he
that.
used it as his glove. Whoa.
Do you have a hat like that? You probably should, Phil.
No, I feel like it makes my face look fat.
Wonder if it's a like a Peaky
Maybe
Blinders
life does
hat.
that, but
Yeah.
no.
Could be
What'd
that
you say, Louis?
pasta.
I said little Peaky Blinders ish.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The razor blades. You think he's got razor blades in there?
Never know.
I
Maybe
hope
not.
not. It's
Some
dangerous.
goalies spit chew on people, and maybe other goalie slashes. I don't know.
Yeah. Ron Hextall, anyone? Psycho. Hey, Billy Smith was crazy too.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
maybe you know one of his relatives, Phil, because Alec Connell was born on February 8th, 1900 in Ottawa, Ontario. Ottawa.
Oh, nice. Cool.
That's where you're apparently from.
Yep.
He passed away in
Oh,
May
no.
10th, 1958 in Ottawa as well. So a lifelong resident. At just 5'9" and 150 pounds, Connell was a smaller goalie but relied on exceptional positioning, quickness, and hockey intelligence to dominate the net. Over his remarkable 12-season NHL career that lasted from 1924 until 1937, Connell protected the crease for Ottawa and the Detroit Falcons. Did you guys know that there's an NHL team, the Detroit Falcons?
I didn't
No.
know.
Pretty
I
cool
was
name.
yesterday years old when I learned that. I'm like, what?
Hmm.
Yeah. The New York Americans and the Montreal Maroons, all NHL teams. Connell was widely regarded as one of the league's most consistent and clutch goaltenders. He made history during the 1927-28 season when he recorded a still unmatched NHL record shutout streak of, listen to this, Phil and Louis, 461 minutes and 29 seconds.
What? At 5'9", 150 pounds? That's great,
Yeah.
dude. That's sickly weight. That's crazy.
An
I'm
achievement
5'9".
that stood for nearly 100 years. Hasn't been broken.
Wow.
Wow, that's wild.
Known for his lightning fast reflexes and meticulous positional play, Connell earned a reputation as one of hockey's smartest goalies. Hockey IQ. His focus and calm under pressure led teammates to nickname him the Ottawa Fireman,
Mm.
always ready to put out offensive threats from opponents.
I get it.
Yeah. During his NHL career, Connell played in 417 NHL games, earning 81 career shutouts, still among NHL leaders. Won 2 Stanley Cups with the Ottawa Senators in 1927 and some other year. Oops. I think my notes. In 1927 and 1927.
How about 20? Nope. Never mind.
Okay, yeah, Louis will fact check that.
Yeah.
Led the NHL in shutouts 4 times, 1926, 28, 34, and 35. Set an NHL record in 1925-26. Listen, this is another incredible stat. He had 15 shutouts in just 36 games.
That's crazy.
Well, he didn't have to go against Dylan Cousins, though, because, you know.
That's right, he didn't. And they got no equipment. It's wild, eh? Man, I wish we had footage back then. See how that works exactly.
After his playing days, Connell stayed involved in hockey at the local level, becoming a respected figure in the Ottawa sports community, and he was inducted to the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1958, forever being recognized as one of the sport's greatest goaltenders. So, why should you care about Alec Connell? Well, he still holds the NHL record for longest shutout streak. It's worth mentioning again, 461 minutes and 29 seconds. His 15 shutout season set a league record that stood for decades, underscoring his dominance. And that was probably only broken because they started to play more games. Because again, it was 15 shutouts in 36 games. He led 2 Stanley Cup winning Senators teams in 1927, 1928 during Ottawa's golden era. And and his legacy continues today as his remarkable records and pioneering style have inspired countless NHL goalies, leaving an enduring mark on hockey history.
Did you?
That's another crazy photo of him.
Holy cow. I don't know if you saw this one, or maybe he had a 1.91 careers goals against average, and it's the lowest for any goaltender in the history of the. It was the lowest in the NHL, a record that was held for 90 years. 1.91.
And it has to be there's usually a qualifier on there that they've played like a minimum of 100 games or something like that, because there could be a guy who played 1 game and had a shutout and technically would have the lowest goals against in history. But
wow.
All right, let's look at the Alec Connell hobby market real quick. Well, I couldn't find any playing days cards for him, which kind of stunk.
Not even a card affilium?
No, there is, yeah. But I'm focusing on something different though that I found. It's now we know the term beehive because that's Upper Deck inserts are still, and there's Crosby records and Ovechkin rookies from 2005. So I came across this 1934 beehive photo. It's number 147. And I had no clue what these are. It was apparently a promotion by the Beehive Food Company where if you sent them like proof of purchase from buying their products, they had 306 different photos of players.
Wow.
That's a lot for 1934. And Alec Connell was not one of them, number 147. Now they measure like 5 3/8 inches by 7 3/8 inches. So they're definitely not a card. It's more a photo, and they don't sell for a ton. I think the highest sale is $24 in July of 2021. So if you're kind of interested in these, I mean, it's crazy that it's only $25 for a photo 90 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to know why, Josh? There's more photos in the 30s, probably. Camera technology, a 35 millimeter film, I think, was invented pretty soon there. So that's why in the 30s you see in everything, just the world culture, you see so many more photographs. 35 mil might have been made in late 20s, but I know the 30s is a big photography era and so on and so forth.
Would you watch like the Photography History Channel at night or something?
No. I've always liked media. I've always been a video camera guy. So I like to smoke and learn things.
In your lounge coat or whatever?
Yeah. You know what I wear.
His two Stanley Cups with Ottawa was 1923 and 27.
Oh, okay. Oops. All right, got to make a quick mention for Gongshow partner and sponsor Slab Sharks. Thankful for their support of our show. The current Slab Sharks weekly eBay auction ends tonight. If you're a real person, please go bid on Phil's card.
Yeah, please. No fake people. Not like the fake Phil. These guys always get involved, and it's going better. It's going better. I got my boy Sylvain, best friend of the show. He's trying to take care of us as best as he can, or me anyway.
Let's get her done, Phil. Let's get her
done. Get out of my pocket. Stress me out. Ugh.
Tons of awesome cards ending tonight. Almost 5,000 in total and well over 3,000 hockey cards. You can see them all at slapsharks.com. And if you happen to be a Canadian hockey cards collector, well then, hello. Hi. Us at the Gong Show. And you're not using Slab Sharks to help sell your cards on eBay, well, then we'd strongly recommend that you might want to give them a shot. Why? Because they make your life so easy. They take all the hassle out of selling your cards on eBay, and they basically do it all for you. And you don't have to be an expert, because Slab Sharks is. Plus, your cards get included in one of, if not, the biggest weekly hockey auctions. So check out slabsharks.com for complete consignment info, including payout rates, and to get the process of turning your cards into cash started today. Oh, what a huge day. What a huge day.
What a picture.
Yeah, there's pinch me moments we've had making the show, and this is definitely one of them. Bryan Trottier, is he good? Did we decide? Was he good?
I think so.
Yeah, I think he was okay.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to be with our boys Carter and Justin at the upcoming Saskatchewan Card and Collector Experience this October 5th in Saskatoon. We're going to be there too. And he's going to be signing autographs. So you can go to the I think it's a saskcardexp.ca. Just Google the Saskatchewan Card and Collector Experience and purchase tickets. We have a link in the show description if you're going to be there to get something, either Brian's book or a card autographed by him. And he was made the offer to come on our show, which is crazy. We had an amazing conversation, covered a lot of ground, covered some hobby stuff, which is always fun to hear about former players, sort of how relevant cards were to them, and just had some great stories. So with that, we sincerely hope you enjoy this conversation with the great Bryan Trottier. Well, he's a six-time Stanley Cup champion as a player, scored 524 regular season goals, accumulated 1,425 points. Phil, he won the Calder, Art Ross, Hart, Conn Smythe, and King Clancy trophies. He's enshrined in the Hockey Hall of Fame. And he's on the Gong Show Islanders Hobby Mount Rushmore, Phil.
Yes.
We're very, very honored to welcome Bryan Trottier to our show today. Hey, Bryan, how are you?
My first time on a Gong Show, so don't gong me. Fun. Let's make this fun. We'll have fun talk here this morning. Pleasure to be here.
Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, the nice thing about when you name your show the Gong Show is it's a lot of freedom to just be goofy and make, and there's not a lot of pressure to be perfect. I'll tell you that much.
Well, if you call me, you're not going to get perfection. We're just gonna get a good Saskatchewan kid here who's kind of full of hockey stories and wonderful experiences. But no, you look back over time and just lots of great memories, lots of good friendships, big bonds that occur, and obviously, a little fun along the way with championships and those kinds of things, and good, really good rivalries against the Oilers and Rangers and Philadelphia Flyers through the years, and again, those create wonderful experiences. And when you bump into Bobby Clark, or you're bumping into Daryl Sittler, or you're bumping into Mark Messier, just we kind of grinned at each other and said, "Okay, are we going to talk about the old days, or are we done with that?" But it's wonderful. The professionalism of our sport is so great, and the brotherhood is spectacular. So yeah, whether it's Mario as a teammate or Dennis Potvin, it doesn't matter. The guys you play against are just hockey guys. They come from somewhere. We all kind of bleed the same blood, so to speak.
It's like a brotherhood.
It is
incredible. And I should mention, I have a lot of questions, but I should mention that you're here as courtesy of our good friends Justin and Carter from the Saskatchewan Card and Collector Experience, happening this fall in October 4 through 5 in Saskatoon, where Bryan will be there doing a signing in conjunction with the shows. You can get your tickets to have Bryan sign some autographs for you on the show's website. We'll post that in the description. And we're going to be there too, Bryan. We've never been to Saskatoon, and looking forward to it. We've seen some pictures. Looks like a beautiful place.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to it. We don't do a lot of signings out in Saskatchewan. We hit the big shows in Toronto or Winnipeg or Chicago, Vancouver once in a while. But yeah, to get out to my little home province and I think make yourself available to the great hockey fans out there is going to be special for me. It's an opportunity to, just say hello. We did a book signing a couple years ago. All Roads Home. I'll grab a copy for you here in a second, but it's like 2.5 years on the bestsellers list. Go figure. But I think for me, it's a wonderful reflection on where I come from, who I am and why I am the way I am. At the same time, it just brings some hockey stories to life and share those things with hockey fans. And I think the pride of Saskatchewan kind of shines through the book as well, because Canada's vast. It's a lot of remote, small communities, but everybody has the same family values out there. Hard work, resilience, teamwork, family, all those things that are precious to Saskatchewan. And it just brings me back to like Gordie Howe and my memories and Dad. Thinking, man, Gordie Howe made it. He's from Saskatchewan. I'm like, maybe I got a chance too. And then to meet Gordie Howe and, to and he always called me a little bugger. I used to love that. Little bugger. And I used to chuckle every time he called me that. And to have that kind of relationship with Mr. Hockey was pretty profound for me and all of us. I think, from Wayne Gretzky on through, everybody has wonderful memory because it reflects on Saskatchewan and where we come from, our roots. He's Little Floral, Saskatchewan. I'm from Val Marie, Saskatchewan. There's
Mhm.
a big population, but people are all the same when you go across. So to come to do the signing in Saskatchewan, I think another opportunity for me to say hello to not just hockey fans, but friends from the same province.
Oh, definitely. And yeah, so what our show is all about is, hockey cards, which we really view as a way to appreciate the game of hockey, appreciate the game's history. And, as I'm sure you've probably realized over the last number of years, they've become kind of valuable timepieces as well. And I'm kind of curious, Brian, do you remember, like, your rookie card was in 1976? Do you remember seeing that hockey card for the first time and seeing a Bryan Trottier hockey card?
Oh my God, I was so embarrassed when that thing came out because they took a picture of me wearing that huge sweater that belonged to Craig Cameron, who was like 260 pounds, 6'3". And I threw this jersey on, number 19, so proud to put it on, but it hung on me like a muumuu, Hawaiian muumuu dress, and I like felt so like, oh, what, hung down to my knees. And when I looked at that photo, I'm like, oh my God. But the proud, you don't really care. You're just happy to have a jersey and a number, your name on it. And so all that excitement, it's still, you're a little like, oh my God, where'd they pick that picture? But there's just so much excitement. And I get that card across my table quite a bit. And that moment comes back, seeing that card for the first time is
Yeah.
spectacular. Now there's a whole bunch of new cards coming out. Upper Deck's got a whole bunch of cards coming out.
Yeah.
And it seems like there's always something coming around the corner that makes it really fun for the hockey fan, and for all of us, like it's kind of interesting when you get all the the autograph seekers kind of follow you around. It's not bad to visit with one or two, but when they got 100 cards and a booklet, you got to sign them all. It makes it a little tough for everybody else. But these opportunities, these card signings, I think are a lot more controlled, and I think it's an opportunity for the fans to get a much better autograph they're going to get when they're chasing me around a hockey rink. But I try to be as cordial as I can, like Gordie Howe said, make your autograph as legible as you can, and so take pride in it, and we do. And so I think for hockey players, I'm kind of proud of the fact that all the guys are really good ambassadors, and we got this generation before us, the Jean Beliveaus, the Maurice Richards, the Stan Mikitas, the Bobby Halls, the Gordie Howe. You can read all their autographs. Johnny Bauer, doesn't matter. You can read them. They're so legible. They took such pride. Dave Keon, everybody of that era was spectacular. So I try to pride myself in giving the hockey fans a good autograph and just a nice hello. And I sat next to Mickey Mantle one time at a card show, and I was a rookie, right, with New York Islanders, and Mickey Mantle is right next to me. And I'm like, what am I doing at this card show? We got Julius Irving, we got like Earl of Pearl Monroe from the Knicks. I'm like, my God, these guys are like icons in New York City. And here's this little rookie from Long Island representing the Islanders. And I've got like 12 people in my row, and he's got people out the door and down the turnpike, down the parkway. His line's forever, and they all want to visit with him. And so I get to visit with my folks. No, not too bad. And he turns to me, he goes, "Where are you from?" I said, "I'm from Saskatchewan." He goes, "I love Saskatchewan. We hunted mule deer and whitetail antelope out in Saskatchewan. That's good meat. We love it." So I'm visiting with Mickey Mantle. These folks are coming up and saying, "Hey, Mickey, we watched you hit home runs." Like, "Hey, don't talk to me right now. I'm talking to my Saskatchewan friend here." And I was like, those little card signings, you never know who you're going to meet. And but over the years, you meet some great athletes from other sports as well, and it's just it kind of connects us all in a certain way.
Did you have hockey cards growing up as a kid, like any like Gordie Howe cards or Belleville cards, anything like that?
Yeah, our little town of Val Marie, we like I tried to trade. We all had to try to trade, right? I had a Larry Hillman from Detroit. He was kind of like a guy who played a lot of different teams, 6 teams back in those days. So the cards were, but to try to find a Gordie Howe was spectacular. And I had a Larry Hillman from Detroit. I'm like, who would want a Detroit? I'm trying to find a Gordie Howe. So I had to trade like everything I had. Like I had, a Bobby Pulford, a Larry Hillman. Larry Hillman played in Toronto too. I had to go to the Leaf fans who didn't want a Red Wing card to try to get my Gordie Howe. And at the very end, when I had my cards, Mom might still have it too. Is my Gordie Howe card. And yeah, that was a pretty special moment. Stan Mikita, I had a Stan Mikita card. I tried to get a Jean Beliveau card, never made it, but I have one now because like going to the card shows, I kind of sneak around, try to find some cards. And Jean Beliveau was to me the prince of hockey of that generation. Then you got Mr. Hockey, Gordie Howe, and Stan Mikita, the inventor of the curved stick with Bobby Hull and how they perfect. There's just so many wonderful history in the game, and for me to be able to like meet these guys in person and then remember that I had their cards growing up, those are pretty special cards for me.
Are you surprised how valuable cards have become? Like where you have people spending millions of dollars on a Wayne Gretzky rookie, or tens of thousands of dollars on other cards. I mean, would you have ever thought in the late 70s that these would be this valuable?
No, not at all. And people come up to me and they're like, "Can you sign this?" I said, "Yeah, hold on to this," because I said, when I pass away, it might be worth something, because I said, right now you might get a cup of coffee for it at Tim Hortons.
Like more
a little more, Brian.
A little more than that.
And I chuckle. I chuckle because like for us, it's just a kind of a reflection on us as on our hockey career, but as normal regular folks, we kind of chuckle at it. But it's kind of fun to be, I don't want to say immortalized, but it is kind of in a way that you're on a hockey card, and people, cherish these things. And you got to remember that, you got to remember that there's an 8-year-old in all of us, and it doesn't matter what age. Everybody enjoys having that moment where they remember they met a hockey player. He signed my card. He was so nice. Or I met this hockey player. He signed my card, and he asked me how school was going. And those kind of things, are good memories for collectors or people that are huge hockey fans. And we're mindful of it. And so yeah, it's kind of awkward in a sense, but the value of these things is kind of like I think there's just the moments that kind of shake my head and go, okay, whatever.
Well, Brian, you returned the favor when you met Mickey Mantle. Look at your face lit right up when you were telling the Mickey Mantle story. So that was the 8-year-old in you, right? Now you've returned that same feeling to thousands of other people as well.
Well, that's exactly right. So like, I can remember the first time I met Henry Richard. So Henry Richard, they're honoring Henry Richard at the Canadian Society dinner in New York. It's at the Waldorf Astoria, beautiful hotel, and 900 people, and it's spectacular. And Henry is, he's polished up. I mean, he's 3-piece suit, handsome. He's a handsome fella. He's all slicked back, and he's all by himself. I said, "Oh my God, Henry's all by himself. He's the man of the hour. I got to go say hello." I said, "Henry, Bryan Trottier, how are you? What a career, 11 Stanley Cups." He goes, and he was so polite. He goes, "Brian, it should have been 12 Stanley Cups. We should have beat Toronto in '67. There you go. You got 11.
So pragmatic.
The one you didn't get that
Just
sticks
never
with you,
enough
right?
Stanley Cups. I think they got like 21 Stanley Cups in that family with him and Morris. But what an impressive human being, right? And those moments where you're meeting these guys for the first. I was 8 years old meeting Henry Richard. You're right. I was 8 years old. Like when I remember the last time I talked to Gordie Howe, and at an Alzheimer event in Edmonton, and he was having a little tough time recognizing everybody. And Marty, his son, comes up to me and goes, "Gordie might not recognize you." And he came up and he talks so soft anyway, right? And I give him a little hug, and he whispers in my ear and goes, "How you doing, you little bugger?"
No, that is awesome.
Right, I was 8 years old again. Like, Gordie remembers me, and
Yeah.
so that dementia thing can affect people different ways. But for that was just my greatest memory of Gordie. Like, I've got a zillion of Gordie, but that remembering me and I was. But you're right. It just brings you back to that moment when you're 8 years old. I'm sitting on my little blanket watching, Detroit, Toronto play in the finals, and I'm like, Montreal playing in the finals, Toronto playing in the finals, and watching all those games. And when you meet these guys in person, how big and how young and how little you feel in their presence.
Hmm. Were you a memorabilia collector? Like, did you have the wherewithal to, as you were going through all your, cup runs, and to, keep on to like keep gloves or jerseys or any kind of mementos from those experiences?
We did, but I wasn't crazy about it. But yeah, we kept some stuff, and unfortunately, we kept it in the basement. We had a flood, and a lot of it got
Oh,
water damage. So Beckett took some of it and cleaned it up very, very well, very well. And but it got we moved some of it, and it was just a little bit sad. But I still have my first hockey. I still have the puck that I scored my first goal ever in my whole life. I gave it to mom. Well, I didn't give it to mom, but mom kept it on the kitchen uh, windowsill and
nice.
wrapped it and said, Brian's first goal. And that to me is like probably my most precious of my memorabilia that I have. Regarding Stanley
Hmm.
Cup rings or whatever, like Hall of Fame rings, all these wonderful things that have happened over the years. But that was a pretty special memorabilia piece. And the first, obviously those first are just so great. But yeah, no, I wasn't a big collector. I wish I was, in a sense, to be able to like walk through it with people, or either my kids or grandkids or hockey fans, and have like
Yeah.
a little mini shrine or whatever you want to call it. But to walk through a little Trottier Museum back in Valerie, Saskatchewan, with folks, and just so they can see some of this fun stuff. And but it's really tough because you gotta carry insurance on it. Every time I take out rings, people are like, oh my God, so when do you bring all of them? Well, because I got to carry insurance, and it's like it gets expensive every time you bring them out, and you worry about
Yeah.
like it just you lose one or something. And you it is a crazy world in that sense. But no, but they're all kind of fun. Like those pieces, memorabilia pieces, are just awesome. Some are in the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame's not going to like me, but every time we ask for a piece back, they're like, no, you donate. I said, well, it's kind of on loan, but those
Yeah.
those things you got to share them if they're not out being recognized, or for the fans to see, because they have so much in their vaults. It's hard for them to show everything. So yeah, so like even some of the old Jean Beliveau stick, I went and saw Gordie Howe stick. Like those things were like straight blades, right? And you could be a lefty or righty, and you wouldn't know the difference with the Jean Beliveau and the Gordie Howe sticks that I've seen in the Hall of Fame. It's just wonderful material, because like you said, how did they shoot with that? And here they're putting up great numbers at the time, and because they're great hockey players. You give them a willow, they'd
Yeah.
probably score 50 goals, those guys. But it was really those memorabilia pieces are special for hockey fans.
Well, so I'm gonna ask you a question. I've had the great opportunity to talk to people like Al McInnes and Grant Fuhrer and Serge Savard. And when you look at the game today, what's the one piece of modern equipment that you're like, dang, if I had this when I was playing, I can't imagine what I could have done with it.
Well, the equipment's so light and very protective. All of the equipment, like that, would have been great to have. Like as far like our stuff was, we'd kind of cut it down and try to like still keep the protectiveness in the equipment, shoulder pads, elbow pads,
Hmm.
the glove, shin pads, all that stuff. But the equipment is so much more protective now. It's so light. Um, but I think the sticks and the skates, for example, like the skates are so stiff. I don't know how the hockey players skate in them, but they're like they found another gear, and they're like
Yeah.
gazelles out there. McDavid and
Yeah.
Kane and Crosby, these guys are lightning bolts, and you're like, hold, how can they skate in those stiff skates? My skates were like just flimsy little leather, and try to stiffen them up a little bit, wrap some tape around your ankle a little bit. But I needed them to be like flexible so I could turn and move. And now I put these skates. I don't know how they do it. That's impressive. And the sticks, I am so impressed with these sticks. The consistency of the sticks, because now yeah, they're
Well, they're $400 because I have a kid
Yeah,
that
yeah.
plays hockey. So I
they're
mean, they
expensive.
better be nice, Brian.
They're expensive. Our old wooden sticks, like I think they cost $100 a dozen. I think was what the Islanders paid for my sticks. And when you look and see like now they're $400 a stick. Wow, I'm like holy cow, And the players go through them. They're I don't know, but at the same time, how they control the shot, how they
Mhm.
what they do with it. I mean, I love stick handling with these sticks, but my shot is just not where I can't control. Like they're so whippy, and the kick point on them are so different than my wooden sticks. But I think if you practice with these things and you work with them all the time, and you're a professional and you put the time into practice, I think we'd all adjust. I asked Mario Lemieux. I said, Mario, how many goals do you think you'd score with these sticks? He goes, well, I don't know. I'd find a way to get 50 or 60. I'm like, he's just
Yeah.
so confident, right? And he's Brett Hall, the same thing. All these guys, they want more flex, they want more kick, they want to put a little more juice on the puck, but you got to be able to control it, right? And I just took a lot of pride in accuracy more so than power. But I just want to hit the net, find a hole or get a juicy rebound or something. But but the sticks and skates to me are most fascinating things. I don't know what I'd do with them, but I'd probably figure it out.
Did
Oh, I'm
you
sure.
ever wear Cooperalls, Brian, or are you
We
hockey pants
didn't.
or Cooperalls guy?
No, we didn't. We had pants the whole time I played with the Islanders Penguins. We never wore Cooperalls. I kind
Okay.
of felt bad for the guys because they looked a little restrictive for some reason. I
Yeah.
don't. I'd always say to myself, how do they skate in that?
Hot too, right?
Yeah, like, oh my God, like I lucked out. I think that I didn't have to wear Cooperalls. Like we go out and for warm-ups in the morning and have like just we called it a sweatsuit skate just to kind of warm up the goalies and get a little sweat in the morning skate. And then somebody got hurt and all of a sudden we had to put more gear on, a helmet and that kind of stuff because somebody fell into the boards or something. But we didn't mind those little sweatsuit skates, but to play a hockey game in them, I don't know. I just felt a lot more protected in the gear, the pants, the shin pads, and shoulder pads, elbow pads, kind of gear. But I think the guys that played in them, you have to ask them. I'm glad I didn't have to.
Me too.
So in 1991, I'm a Minnesota kid. You broke my heart, Brian. It's
Oh,
okay. When you
I was
guys
the
beat the Norse.
friendliest guy on the ice, so don't blame me. It was all those other guys that were mean players.
No, I was listening. I remember being in bed listening past my bedtime, listening to the Stanley Cup Finals on the radio. And when I look back now, though, I get it. It's like I counted this morning. You had 9 Hall of Fame players on that team. I mean, that has to be the greatest accumulation of talent in the history, I would think, or one of in the history of the NHL.
Yeah, it's so impressive. When we look back at that Penguin team and the number of great hockey players at that time and recognized now as NHL 100 or Hall of Fame guys. I mean, it is an impressive lot of players. And even our Islander crew that played them in the early 80s. I mean, we ended up playing Minnesota twice in the finals, once in mid 80s and then
Oh,
once
yeah.
in the early 90s. And both the Minnesota teams were loaded with star players as well, goaltenders on out. And I think young Modano was on the team in the
Yeah.
91 team, and he was flying around the ice, and he was like crazy good. We're all like, get in front of him, slow him down. We need to get 2 guys. We don't let him pick up speed. But all those memories against those Minnesota teams are spectacular. I mean, I think even though like we won, like had they won, they would have been great champions because they're great players on all those teams. But that's what it takes, right? You need great players to play great. You need great goaltending. You need power play. Special teams got to do their job, and you need everybody to stay healthy as much as possible. We lost Mario for 1 game. His back was sore. We lost him. We lost the game. He comes back. He's first star and wins MVP. I mean, if you have all your great players playing, and they're playing on all cylinders. And Mario wasn't quite as healthy as he would have wanted to be, but he was still the most valuable player. And young Yager and Paul Coffey, and you look at Larry Murphy, and you're looking at Joey Mullen, and you're looking at Mark Recchi, and everybody
Yeah.
who's a Hall of Fame guy in that team is just. They played well. They played big. They scored big goals. Everybody had to, and that's what it takes to win a championship. It's not easy. You got to have that chemistry, and you got to have everybody kind of working together and the unity. And so, yeah, no, it was a great hockey team. We're sure proud of what we were able to accomplish in back-to-back Stanley Cups, and even our Islander teams. But Minnesota, they've got a wonderful history there.
Brian, do you feel your experience with that Pittsburgh team helped you guide and lead the stacked Colorado team 10 years later when you were an assistant coach? Do you find your experiences helped you because that team was loaded, right? You had Foote, Bork, Sakic, Waugh. That's how do you put that many egos in a room? But you were a part of that 10 years before. So did it help you in that situation as well?
Oh, I like to think so. Like all your experiences in the game, I think help you along the way, whether it's playing the game, playing and then coaching great players. I tried to use all my experience when I was coaching, and it was wonderful having Joe Sakic and Peter Forsberg and Ray Bork and Robbie Blake and Adam Foote. Patrick Waugh was out. Like you talk about pros, you talk about intensity. I mean, these guys are all intense. They want to win, and they're good guys. So it seemed like every little thing I said seemed to like matter. And even with the young kids like Tanguay, Alex Tanguay and Chris Drury and
Hey Duke,
Duke,
remember?
all these guys were like big ears and big eyes. They wanted to absorb it because if you say something stupid, they know if you're saying something stupid. But if you're saying something that makes sense, something that they can apply, by God, they're going to listen and they're going to try it. And coming back to give you the nod or give you the wink and kind of say thank you, and you're like, all right, hey, it matters, and you want to make sure that what you're saying is effective. Number one, but number two is you're always respectful of the play because they're out there banging bodies, and it was really kind of fun to get their input back.
Yeah.
Like what's not working out there? What do you think's going to like? And they would come back and they were great. I mean, to have those kinds of players on your team is spectacular. You need great players, and great players are, you got that many leaders on a team. You're right, egos, but it's chemistry. Like you look at every championship team, like as many like great players as they have, they all blend. Chicago team, you have Taves and Kane and that crew, Keith, and they blend and they find a way. Edmonton Oilers of the 80s, like, wow, look at how many great players they had on their team. They blend and they have that chemistry and they work together. They all find a role and they work together. And that's what great players do. They find a way to work together. And working with those players in Colorado was special. A special group of. I'm so proud of them to a man. I didn't bleed. I didn't have to go bang bodies. And you appreciate what they do on a daily basis because they're tired, they're a little worn out, but you just got to have a little more energy than the team you're playing against. And that team from New Jersey took us to 7 games, and we had all that firepower in Colorado. And I think we were down 3-2 in that series. So, be able to push it to 7th game and then win it at home was a wonderful, spectacular experience for those players. And going forward, they can carry that with the rest of their life. And I feel like I had a little something to do with it. Not like I said, in scoring a goal, but when you're encouraging, you're preparing the players, and you're tweaking along the way, and the players are responding. Pretty special group of guys.
Awesome.
One of the things that we do on our show a lot, Brian, is like every episode we do a get to know your Hall of Famers. We've been profiling every hockey Hall of Famer going back to 1945 and working our way up to present day because it's an important part of, I think, to appreciate hockey, you have to understand its history. Yeah. And one of the guys I've always been fascinated with is a guy you played with in Mike Bossy. And I just wonder, like, it just seems like when you really start to understand him, like there's the whole what could have been question. He was great as he was, but had he remained healthy for even 5 more years, how do you think he would be viewed even on a greater scale in the pantheon of hockey legends today? It's like, do people not appreciate how good he was enough?
Well, the world that I'm in, they revere Mike Bossy as a goal scorer. They don't understand how great a player he was as a skater, playmaker, stick handler. But he was a phenomenal goal scorer, a great teammate, superb line mate, very, very deceptive, sneaky. I loved it. He's like a stealth on the ice. He'd just find open ice for me, and vice versa. We tried to work off each other. And he's a special player. He's going to do well no matter who he played with, what team he played with. He's going to be a great goal scorer no matter what. But I feel like pretty lucky to have 10 years with the guy and roommate with for most of that time. And so for us to have that friendship bond was pretty special for me. I love sharing stories about Mike Bossy. It's still pretty raw as far as like saying goodbye to a guy that you had that much success with. And, but his family's spectacular. You know, his wife and 2 daughters are wonderful. I love him to death. And much like just like Mike's a brother, you know, like it's basically a brother. And
Yeah.
you know, had he stayed healthy and had he played, you know, the number of games that all the other players had played, you know, like whether it's, you know, Wayne Gretzky or Alex Ovechkin or, you know, Brett Hall, all these guys that are way up there in goals. And Mike played all those games. You look at, I swear to God, he would have busted every record as goals. Even Mario, had Mario stayed healthy, had Mario been healthy through his whole career, you know, those two to me are just, they just had a real knack and a real confidence when it comes to scoring goals that nobody, that I haven't seen since, you know, like, yeah. You know, their goals per game, the number of shots they took to the number of goals they scored. I mean, just phenomenal statistics and still quiet, great guys with, you know, I won't say checked egos, but just egos that were like it comes with confidence and they still gracious and you know those kind of people are special and you know so I look at and I say boy by God Mike's numbers are pretty spectacular but at the same time had he played they would have been higher a lot more goals his percentages probably would have stayed the same because he prided himself on contributing goals every game. He wanted to score. That I think that's a good selfish to have. You want to contribute to a team's success. He wants to score goals, and he knew what his job was, and he prided himself on it. And he took a lot of a lot of abuse at times to do that in an era. You know that was the game. Stop the goal scorers. You know, do what you got to do. And by God, he paid the price. And so there's a price to pay it in that time, and we all paid it. And you know, I still consider him probably the very best of the best when it comes to goal scoring. And it's no disrespect to everybody else, believe me.
Sure.
When you look at pure numbers, and I know the guy personally. Yeah, I'm a big Mike Bossy fan. So yeah,
he has the record. He has the record, Brian, for goals per game for the ratio. He's the number one in the whole league.
Yeah, him and Mario are really close, and then the guys everybody else is way
yeah,
down.
We're all civilians. They're their superheroes. Yeah.
Is there a player or two today that you really appreciate watching?
Oh God, there's one on every team, but you know when you watch the Four Nations was spectacular hockey, and you got you know every line going out there was like an all-star line. And you're like, oh my God, there's no weaknesses in any of these teams. And you just saw like, you know, all-star after all-star after all-star. So I got to see a lot more players in the league that I do during the regular season because some of the teams out west we don't see enough of because, you know, their games are on later. But if they come east, we get a chance to see. But, you know, the McDavids, obviously, they shine. Obviously, they're just, you know, Mike Bossy actually called McDavid the fastest human being he's ever seen on a pair of skates. I thought that was the perfect description.
Wow.
And you know, there's but to me, like the purist, right? The real purist. You know, to me, Patrick Kane right now is still playing unbelievable. He got great hands. He just his vision, his pace he finds the holes, all those things that great players do. I mean, I'm so impressed. Even at you know. Like I call them elder statesmen, you know, they still find a way to contribute with their savvy and their guile, their moxie, everything that Patrick Kane has. He's fun to watch for me. But some of the young kids, oh my God, their stick skills, the kids in New Jersey, Montreal, like some of their stick skills, Matthews, like holy cow. You're like, wow. You know, you're like there's highlight reels every night on every team. Some of these kids, the skills that they're doing, Bedard, like these kids are amazing stick skills. Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, they if you think about, you know, one of the things that I don't, in some ways it's a good thing, in other ways maybe not so a good thing. Like how many more miles they have on them before they get to the NHL, and how different that experience was from your experience, right? It's like a kid grows up today and plays 50 games a year and travels all, you know, internationally and all these juniors, and so it's like, you know, they have so much more practice essentially by the time they make it. And like I said, I think there's good things about that and bad things about that too, because I'm sure you had more of a childhood than some of these players today have.
Well, without a doubt. I mean, they're getting looked at 12, 13, 14 years old. and they're getting agents. And my grandson's one of them. Like he's Parker. He's out in he just signed with. He's going to go to Notre Dame, but he's with the North American development team with USA Hockey, and a lot of kids his age. I mean, it's a different world for these kids, but they don't know any different. Well, I do. I notice the difference because that's not how I grew up. I grew up in a small town, trying to play as much hockey as we could from November through February. We had 4 months of hockey, natural ice, no artificial ice out in Val-Marie, Saskatchewan. But we had the creek next to us, so I'd go freeze my toes out there and try to skate around dead cows that were frozen in the river. And it's no big deal. Like that's just what we all thought Canada was like at the time. But if you have nothing to compare it to, and this is what the world you live in, and these kids they just adjust. They move on. They don't think it's hard. I bumped into Matt Cullen. His son Wyatt is on the same team as my grandson Parker, and they're teammates out in Plymouth, Michigan, and they're busting all over the place. 6 hours here, 12 hours there, back home the same night, school the next day. I said to Matt, I'm like, oh my God, I feel so bad for these kids. And Matt looked at me, and goes, "Do you remember when you were that age? They're right where they want to be." And he's 100% right.
Good answer. Yeah.
It was great. Great to be reminded that these kids are exactly where they want to be. They don't have any different. They don't have nothing to compare it to. They're just living the dream, pursuing the chase, the challenge to get to the next level. And good on them. I mean, all of them are so appreciative. They're, nobody's like, elitism or all that stuff. They're just having a blast. And, we all pull for this next generation. They're all wonderful kids. So, what we were at our times, Gordie Howe in his era, were what they were at their time. And these kids are having a blast. So good on them.
So whether it's your grandson or another kid that loves the game and is pursuing, like what do you think the biggest piece of advice that you would give about, hockey?
It's pretty simple, and that's a great question because like a lot of people ask me that question. They'll say, what's the best advice you give to kids of this generation? I say the same thing to every parent and every kid. Like, you have to play your heart out, enjoy it, enjoy the every day of it, play your heart out, play with your heart, don't let the fun of the game ever disappear. When you go to the rink with a purpose all the time, head on the swivel, trust your instincts, all those things. And the biggest rule I had was the same one my dad had was get your homework done. You get your homework done or lose your skates. And everybody thinks, oh yeah, I'm gonna get to the NHL. Well, you know what? Injuries happen. You always have education to fall back on, and that's your foundation. And a lot of us didn't have that. A lot of us didn't have that opportunity to finish school or go on to college. And we took a different path, our generation. When there wasn't, school wasn't important to junior hockey at the time. It was like if you went to school, you weren't taking hockey serious. We're like, oh yeah, I just want to be able to, fall back on something. So like I was able to take two courses per semester, and I got 4 credits in grade 11 and I say to myself, wow, I went a little further than a lot of other guys. But then the NHL came knocking. I'm like, I got to pursue this for as long as I can. I can always go back to school when I'm 60 years old. And you never stop learning in life, right? I always carried a dictionary, and you pride yourself on making sure you don't sound too dumb. And obviously I make sure, like, I don't want to embarrass my mom and dad, but I think all of us in hockey really have that sense of down home pride. And I'm proud of that fact, because like when it comes to looking back and saying to yourself, wow, it's been a fun journey, and we all can, regardless of which direction we go, we find a way to pursue the dream, make the very best of it, and be a good positive influence on the next generation. So my advice is very simple, just play your heart out, just go out there, trust your instincts, head on a swivel all the time. Don't take anything for granted. At the same time, just keep building yourself as a person, continue your education, be a good teammate, all those things that are important. And, when you go, be committed, go to the rink with a purpose every day.
That's awesome advice. And Bryan, you're a beauty. So grateful that you took the time today to come on our show. We're
I have
very,
one
very
question. One question I have to
Didn't
ask.
get gonged. I didn't get gonged.
That's
no,
not
not one.
First one's the first one. We go easy on it. When you
Okay.
come back, we're gonna gong you.
Don't go anywhere. I got something I got to show you.
Oh,
Okay.
good. And Brian, I have a question, maybe two. Yeah, just don't let him go. I got questions, man.
Okay.
I like questions. Go.
Okay, good. I got lots.
Oh, the book.
Did you think you were gonna score? Let's go about your goal. Or did you think you were gonna score 5 goals twice in one game?
No. No one ever comes up to me and goes, there goes that real good goal scorer, Bryan Trottier. You know, like
5 goals
Mike
in one
Bossy,
game, Brian.
But there's a Mike Bossy, what a great goal scorer. You know, Ovechkin, what a great goal scorer. You know, I scored 5 goals twice, and I say to him, no
That's
one's ever
crazy.
said, what a great goal scorer. But you know, what's really kind of fun is that 5-second goal in Boston. That was kind of a fun goal because, like, you know, you kind of catch a team just not ready. And I looked and I said, you know, these defensemen are cheating up here on this faceoff. I'm going to go forward. I looked at Mike Bossy and Greg Gilbert. I'm like, I'm going forward on this draw. We're going to pressure their defense and see if we can't catch them flat-footed and put a little pressure, get a turnover, and get a quick. And bing, bang, bong, 5 seconds, the puck's in the net. And rounding that net, in Boston, you don't celebrate too long. You don't get beat up. But my eyes locked onto this Bruins fan as I'm around the net, and you know, he's handing popcorn and a Coke to his son, who also has a Boston jersey on, and he's got this look on his face, this expression. They're like, "Haven't you sat down yet? My team's down 1-0." That's my part of that whole 5-second goal. But there's there's a lots of fun goals I've scored over the course of my career, and I kind of think I was a sneaky scorer in a sense because you know there's not a lot of drama or not a lot of I guess amazement in how I score goals. They just find a hole. They go through the goalie somehow, and I said to myself, looking back, you know, hey, you know that contribute a lot of goal, but I wasn't points were fun for me. Like finding a way to contribute to the offense was important. Obviously, you're on a power play.
Yeah.
You know, you're on the first line. You're playing. You want to put up. You want to contribute offensively, right? But to me, it was like the bottom line for me was winning, and I wanted to win the hockey game somehow, beat the other team. It wasn't about personal, you know, beating somebody up. It was about winning the hockey game and doing it in the toughest, best, skillful way that you possibly could. And if it was a rough hockey, I'll bump and grind with you. Okay, you got a little speed. Okay, I'll give you a little speed. I love playing against Montreal and Edmonton. I love playing against Philadelphia and Rangers. They were going to be gritty games, and it brought out, I think, the best in me. And you know, playing. People say going to the NHL. I was studying guys. I played against Stan Mikita. I'd study him, and Daryl Sittler. I thank Daryl Sittler and Bobby Clark for teaching me the 200 game at the NHL level because it was intensity. It was like you come out of the game 60 minutes, you're exhausted. You're like, that was a good game, win, lose or draw, right? And so those games were great for me. But I wanted to win so bad. And looking back, I said, winning percentage is pretty good. But you play 18 years, coach for another 10, 28 years, and only 7 Stanley Cups. I'm like, a lot of losing years there. But the winning percentage still ain't too bad compared to a lot of other guys. But
only 7 Stanley Cups.
Yeah,
I think
7.
a lot
Come on, man.
players would be.
Stole that from
would
Henry
be
Richard. Remember, he should have had 12. But
Yeah.
like you look back and you say, you know what? It's really kind of fun to look back and say, one more than I lost, kind of thing, and plus minus was not bad overall. You look at those things as much as you look at the goals and the points and the total points, and those are things I'm proud of, and things that I think my little province of Saskatchewan is proud of. And we were on a contest one time, and I don't know, it was CK radio or CKRM radio in Regina or something. They had this contest. It was like, who's the greatest hockey player from Saskatchewan in history, right? And you could phone in as many times as you want. So my mom phoned in like 40 times. Right? I'm going to vote for my son. I called my mom. I'm like, okay, Mom, how do we make out? She goes, you came in second behind Gordie Howe. I said, yes. She goes, I called in 40 times. Like, Mom, I came in second to Gordie Howe. Like,
amazing.
And CKRM goes, well, they want a little.
Do you know the record, Brian? Do you know the playoff record you hold right now about a period? You still have the record all time.
We snuck in with like, what is it, 6 points or something?
Yeah, that's what it is. 6 points in an NHL playoff period.
There's
incredible.
There's a lot of fun little records out there that I think there's like playoff points in the season and playoff points multiple years. There's a few out there that are hanging on there. Yeah, they're long. I mean, they're like over 40 years. Some are coming up on 50 years. Yeah, there's some cool records out there that are kind of fun, that kind of withstanding the test of time, so to speak.
You were young
But
too.
it's a different era for these guys. Like, had we played in wide open hockey, like there's a lot of clutching, grabbing, and there was battle zones all over the ice. And when I played, and it was great hockey. I'm not complaining, but to play in an era where you can't put a stick on a guy, you can't tug, you can't hook, you can't hold. I mean, it's a different era for these players, but the speed of the game is so fast. And but I tell you, when we played Montreal, there wasn't a lot of hook and holding, grabbing. It was fast paced. I remember a game in Montreal where Guy Lafleur was doing a little button hook. The puck went around from behind the net, that went around the right side, and he's doing a little button hook, picking up with speed. And I'm like, one of my first games in Montreal Forum, I'm like, kind of glassy eyed, the kid from Saskatchewan, like, wow, Montreal Forum, the Blue Jeroen Blanc, like everything. Look at all the Stanley Cup banners, and Guy Lafleur's picking the puck up on the fly, right? Does a little button hook, picks it up on the fly, and I'm in that gray zone where, do I forecheck or do I back off? Well, I'm not like, I wonder if this game's on Hockey Night in Canada. I wonder if I'm look at Guy Lafleur's hair. He's blowing by me.
Look at his hair.
I better get my head back in the game here. I'm back checking now on Guy Lafleur. Anyway,
that's fun. So you grabbed your book. Let's talk about that for a second.
Okay, All Roads Home. We're 2.5 years. We've been on the national bestsellers list, and really proud of this little thing. It's kind of a fun book in the sense that it starts from the growing up in Saskatchewan onto junior hockey, NHL, and some of the fun experience of what I'm doing now. But really kind of fun. I wrote it through COVID, 1,400 pages, and we condensed it down to 300. And that's tough to let go of some of those fun stories. But we think we did a really good job editing, and really proud of it. So yeah, we're going to be having these books around when I come in October. So Saskatchewan, nice. we had 100 and I think 10 books in Regina. We did the book site and we sold out, and we had like 200 more books we had to sign and ship out afterwards. So I know Saskatchewan, we didn't get a chance to do a lot of book signings in my little province. So anyway, when you come to Saskatoon, we'll have a lot of books around. So we'll sign these books up for you. So yeah, we're pretty proud of it. It's a wonderful read. I tell my hockey guys, I said, it's grade 5 level reading. So you shouldn't struggle with big words.
Will you personally inscribe it, Brian, when we all meet up in October?
Absolutely.
Yeah. To my best friend, Phil.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's a gentleman named Name Cardinal who we've had on our show before. He's a First Nations hockey card collector from Canada, and he's a First Nations heritage as well. And so we've talked about, and I'm sure that part of your life is covered in your book as well, I assume.
Oh yeah. We talk about my grandpa and grandma growing up. They're Cree Chippewa Métis, and it was really fun going to grandma and grandpa's house and getting a lot of the culture, the humor, hunting, fishing, everything that grandpa and grandma loved, gardening and foods. And it was really kind of we just thought it was just kind of normal, natural. There was I didn't grow up with a lot of discrimination like my dad and grandparents did, but our little town is very diverse in a sense. A lot of French people, a lot of different ethnic backgrounds, and I think Dad did a wonderful job of making us grow up, be a part of the community, with music and good ranching, just good ranching skill. Like it was a good place to grow up for us. But yeah, I talk a lot about the Indigenous side of my life in a sense. We were up in Deschambault Lake with Dale Howardchuk and Dave Semenko, and yeah, it's a long time ago. This is like 20 years ago. We were doing some barnstorming with our alumni, and we're signing autographs afterwards, and Indigenous guy comes up to me. He's a little bit older, and he goes, Brian, do you know you're the most decorated Indigenous athlete in the world? I said, no, but I'm stealing that line.
Yeah.
There you go.
Kind of the fun awards and championships. It's kind of fun to be able to use that in a sense and bring a sense of pride to our Indigenous, communities and say, here's one little guy from Saskatchewan who's got, I think I got all this mixed blood, right? Like, Métis, Chippewa, Cree, Irish, Mum's Irish.
Awesome.
I've got all this
Awesome.
diversity, and I'm like the perfect Canadian blood. I tell everybody, I like got all this blood in me, and I always felt I was like just one step ahead of everybody else with this, love of athleticism and sport and animals and music and all this fun stuff that was in our family and growing up with that. So like, they're just strengths, and that's what we were taught as young kids. Use everything you got as far as your background, your history, and your family. And my uncles were great hockey players. My dad was a wonderful athlete. Good horseman. My grandfather, wonderful hunter. Just fisherman. All those wonderful things that we got to do in nature. And grandma, just bannock and fry bread and all these wonderful native meals that she cooked for us. And dad would bring steaks in and grandma would make a bouillon out of it. And I'm like, Grandma, we were hoping we were having nice fried steak. Oh, no. This makes a good bouillon, good flavoring. Good soup. We had soup all the time at grandma's house. But it's just wonderful, wonderful stories about our indigenous side that are shared in the book. And I think when we go into the communities and we talk to the kids about staying in school, making healthy choices with John Shabbat and our Aboriginal alumni group, it's really kind of fun, to share some of these stories with the kids because they can relate a little bit. Because I was shy, I was scared to leave home, and got homesick a lot. Talk about that in the book, and a lot of kids are shy and scared and homesick. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Hockey, young hockey players and young Indigenous hockey players or athletes can read in the book. So yeah, it's a fun read.
Well, I have a 10-year-old nephew who plays hockey, and I know you can get the book if you're watching or listening on Amazon because I just ordered it while you were answering your questions, and I'm gonna give it to him. So you sold one book today. Very happy to
again.
There you go.
Now, was it hard to write a book? Was that or harder than you thought it would be?
We said COVID. You wrote it during COVID, so
I wrote it during COVID. Yeah, I wrote it during COVID, and it's a long time coming. So for over 40 years, people were asking me to write a book. And when I was playing and coaching, I didn't want to give away any secrets. I didn't want anybody to know what I was thinking. I didn't want anybody getting into my mind, or I didn't want to share anything that I had. And when I was all done, and I looked at myself, and I talked to the kids. I talked to my kids. I said, "Hey guys, I'm going to write a book. What do you think about that?" It's not a tell-all book. It's kind of a shared experience book. And the kids were all over it. My 4 children, they're like, "Dad, you got to write a book. Your stories are great." Because I tell the kids all the time these crazy stories about growing up, and so yeah, writing the book, 1,400. I hand wrote 1,400 pages and shipped them up to our publisher in Toronto, and they would send back, double spaced some there. They even we started editing, and so 1,400 pages of writing, and then so I still have the binder downstairs, right? All these crazy pages.
Brian, I'll bring you a typewriter. It's easier.
Yeah, no, I'm a writer. That part was easy. The toughest part was editing. That was really tough. So yeah, it was like, I won't say 3 years, but 3.5 years of sending stories up and starting to edit. And then the last 5 months were really tough because we really had to get down to the nitty gritty and start erasing or just changing, trying to, and then but I had final edit, which I kind of negotiated. I said, "Hey guys, look, that doesn't sound like me. I want it to sound authentic," and so I had to kind of keep fighting that because this is bad English. I'm like, that's how I speak.
Yeah, it's your story. You want to make sure that that it's really representative of who you are. And like I said, I can't wait to read it and pass it along to my nephew to learn about one of the greatest hockey players of all time. All right, Phil, do you have any more final questions?
No, I'll ask him in October. I'll leave it.
Yeah. Well, you've been super, super generous with your time. It's an honor to get to meet you. I can't wait to see you in Saskatoon, and I know that you're going to delight a lot of hockey fans there by giving them the opportunity to meet you and get your autograph again on October 4th through 5th. The Saskatchewan Card and Collector Experience. So looking forward to that. Thank you, Brian, so much for your time.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I got one parting story, okay? One little part.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Go ahead.
This is kind of a fun story. So we did the book signing in Regina, and I told them, I said, "How many books do we have?" They go, "Oh, we got a little over 100 books. We got plenty of books." I'm like, "Hey, you guys don't know Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan folks will drive 8 hours, come and get a book signed, drive home 8 hours. It's okay." And they'll do it in -4. And of course, in Regina, we did it February, and it was -42 or something. And the snow everywhere. It was horrible weather, right? We had 300 people show up. And
Wow.
and you have 300 people. They thought the book signing would go about an hour, a little over an hour. We were there 4.5 hours. We spent at least 5 minutes minimum with every person. They had a story to share with me, and I wasn't pushing them out the door. So of
Yeah.
course the bookstore wants to close up, right? They're like, oh my God, but they were so kind. Everybody was outside. They pulled everybody in the store because it was so cold outside. And I'm sure they sold a couple extra books besides my book, but to me, that's reflective of our little Saskatchewan, right? Just
Yeah.
hardy, resilient, determined people. And I thank them, every one of them. I like, you guys went through the storm and the weather, and you drove hours to come and say hello. So yeah, to me that was pretty special. So
Very
I hope that's the same thing in October. So look forward to.
Oh, we will. We're gonna
Oh
make
yeah,
it
yeah.
great.
We're excited to go.
Yeah.
And I love going to new places and experiencing new things, and can't wait to meet you in person there. So we'll see you in a few months. And again, thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Jens.
Brian.
Okay, stay well.
All right, we're back. I got to say thank you to Justin and Carter from the Saskatchewan Card and Collector Experience. Again, go to their website, get your tickets for Brian. Of course, thank you to Brian for being very generous with his time. It was kind of funny during the interview. I was so terrified that we were keeping him too long. I'm sure you noticed I tried to end it, and then he's like, no, let's keep going. I'm like, well, you don't have to ask me twice or tell
We
me
were
twice.
told we only had 15 minutes. It was stressed. It had to be only 15 minutes, and then Brian, it was great. It was a lot longer than 15, which was fantastic.
Do you think he liked us? Yeah, maybe.
I think he liked us. We got him to laugh a little bit. That
Who
was
do you think
good.
he liked more, me or you?
I think he respected you more, but I think he
Mm.
liked me more. Yeah,
Okay.
he'd rather probably, Phil, let's open a box of cards. And with you, he'd probably want to do his taxes or something,
Yeah, love that.
It's hard to
Get
argue.
do that soon.
Thank
Yeah,
you, Louis.
there you go. What amazing stories! First of all, the Gordie
Mhm.
Howe stories were incredible. The
Yeah.
little bugger. I mean, in that he's very humble. His kid's going to Notre Dame. That's the one part, or his grandkid.
Yeah.
And we'll see him in October. Maybe I can convince him to send him the Golden Gophers way a little bit, Louis. Got to rep the maroon and gold, right?
Wouldn't be a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
I liked
else?
I liked how a legend in my eyes agreed with me that he was an 8-year-old kid in someone else's presence. And that
Yeah.
was that, it reminds you, they're human too, right? Like, I mean, he had such a human vibe to him. Like
Mhm.
when we, I mean, the audience doesn't know this, but when he first came on, he goes, "Oh, sorry, I was late. I had to kick the contractors out and these carpenters." And like, you just realize he's a guy renovating his house too, Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a great interview, man. Very enamored and grateful to have spoken to him.
Well, you have a saying you like to say a lot, Phil, and don't meet your heroes. But this is one case where I don't know how you listen to that or watch it and don't like him more.
Yeah, there's a
Right.
certain age separation. I think like 20 years from my age, I'll meet you. Like, I don't want to meet
Mhm.
Brady or Crosby or, I don't want to. But Bryan Trottier, yes. Yvonne Cornway, yes, I'll meet him.
Okay. I know you watched it, Louis. You had to go work, unfortunately. But anything stand out to you? Anything that you liked in there?
Oh, I loved all of it. I loved it. Well, I didn't love all of it. I didn't like the talk about beating up on our Minnesota North Stars in the cup, but
Yeah.
I like, the conversation he had, when Gordie Howe was talking to him about, signing cards for people. He said, take pride in your signature, take
Yes.
pride in it, take your time, make it look neat.
Yeah.
So that was
Amazing.
awesome. Yep.
It's a reflection of yourself.
It is.
That's how I view it.
Maybe Brian should speak to all rookies today and tell them that story, huh?
Maybe the NHLPA should have have respect for your autograph session. I'll run it. So I'll do the buyback program with Upper Deck, and I'll run the autograph session with the NHLPA.
Mm.
Live from the pen room
Mm-hmm.
at
Yeah,
Upper
the
Deck.
pen room.
Yeah. Well, and we hope to do this a lot more. And it's been a goal of ours to get more players involved and to get a 6-time Stanley Cup champion and Hall of Famer is pretty sweet. And yeah,
Can
just
we
very,
be
very
honest with the
grateful.
chat? I've emailed so many players. So it's like
Mhm.
Josh and Coach, like, we're trying. I want people to know we are giving full effort to try and get some big names because we want to talk to them. We're like kids. Look at the picture on the screen right now. Look at the cheeks of Josh and Phil. We're like little kids. You know, it was great. So we are trying really, really hard. You know, I've even written a handwritten letter. You know, whatever. I
From
paid
jail?
for it. Yeah. No. And stop. So we're trying. We're trying to get more people. All right, let's move on.
Okay. Where do you go from there? Oh, I know where you go. Hobby news.
Hobby news.
Hobby news.
All right, because me and Louie are pathetic, and we're still smitten kittens over our own state high school hockey tournament, and I found an amazing attendance stat the other day on X or Twitter, whatever you call it, and then Louis went wild with it. So, we're gonna do a little Minnesota State high school hockey education for you, Phil. So we got to get you up to speed.
So excited. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Oh, it's really cool. So you want me to take this one then, Joshy Pool?
Yeah, you
Joshy
do it,
boy.
bud.
All right. So high school hockey in Minnesota predates the official documented start date of 1945 by almost 40 years, where youth high school hockey can be traced to the late 1890s to early 1900s. So St. Paul Public High School hockey championships were first held in 1909, and by 1914, Minneapolis got into it with their own conference, which included an East, West, North, and Central, and then the St. Paul City Conference teams came in there. So then we go from 1914 up till the 20s. The Metro teams, as they're called, they got tired of playing each other, and they began playing the Northern teams more frequently. One of the first North versus South games was in 1922, when St. Paul Cathedral defeated Duluth 5-3 in a game in Duluth. I don't have that picture. Actually, I think it's this one. I think it's there's newspapers over here.
Oh, and Phil, there's going to be a test on this, so
Yeah, I'm
write all
taking
this
notes.
down.
So by 1926, the Northeastern Minnesota High School League was formed with teams from Duluth and the Iron Range cities, which included Eveleth, Chisholm, Virginia, and Josh's own Hibbing.
HIBBING. Eveleth is the home of the United States Hockey Hall of Fame.
It is.
Which is, think of like the real Hockey Hall of Fame and something about 1,000 less cool. No,
But still cool.
but still cool.
But still cool. So Minnesota was big time in front, leading the way with Mr. Gene Aldrich. He was helping laying the foundation for a big youth hockey movement in Minnesota. Aldrich had passed away, and he was the former director of athletics for junior and senior high schools in St. Paul. He was what they called, in a sense, you would say, the father of another offspring for the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament, which now the first and most successful one of its types in the United States. He pioneered the tournament in 1944. And because of his driving influence, it was born in the St. Paul Auditorium, February 15th, 1945, and it brought in 8,434 spectators. Now, if I remember right, the St. Paul Auditorium is, what's that, Josh, right next to where they have the concerts and stuff?
The River Center or
No,
Roy
the smaller
Wilkins?
one. Roy Wilkins. Yep, that's where it
Okay.
is, I believe. The following year, 1946, attendance rose to 11,035 and has been unstoppable ever since. So then in 1973, the St. Paul Civic Center was opened, and games were played there until the building was demolished in 1998 and then rebuilt for the incoming Minnesota Wild, which is now the Xcel Energy Center. And all the games have been played there ever since. Fun little tidbit, which has always been crazy. The Civic Center boards were plexiglass, which created a crazy dynamic to the game.
Have you ever seen a rink with that, Phil?
No, I haven't.
With plexiglass boards. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, it's different, eh?
So, this is where we'll get into the stats thing we were trying to get to sooner. On Saturday night, March 3rd, there were 10 NHL games that were played. In Minnesota that night, the boys' high school hockey state tournament was in the championship game for AA. The average attendance for NHL games this season is 17,448. The Xcel Energy Center itself holds 17,954 and has been at 103% of its capacity this year with 18,374 average attendance, which further underscores the remarkable, just the turnout and enthusiasm for people. Saturday night's Class AA championship drew a higher attendance than every single NHL game that was played that night at 20,491, which was the record for the state tournament. And there's the other games, some of them. I don't know if I put all 10 on there, but there was some of the attendances from NHL games. I thought it was pretty cool.
It's the greatest thing. Like, I don't think anyone gets it if you're not from here. And Phil, at some point, we're gonna drag you down here to go to it
I'd love
because
to.
it'd blow you away how cool it is to have 20,500 people at a high school hockey game.
I couldn't even imagine. A vibe like that, you feel that energy, eh?
Yeah.
Well, even as a kid growing up here, so the tournament always starts on a Thursday. Like, we would skip school and you would to watch the afternoon. And if you're not there, everyone in Minnesota huddles around the TV and you watch. And really, I think as a kid from where Louis was from the Metro and I'm from northern Minnesota, right? It was about, I mean, those were the David and Goliath matches, right? These small little northern Minnesota, like I come from a mining town, the metropolitan like city, right? Coming in and beating them was like the greatest thing ever. And then you have all these, like, you have Edina, which is a very famous suburb of Twin Cities. I think Troy told me once that the Edina Youth Hockey Association, if it was a state, would be the second largest state hockey association in the country. It's so big.
Wow.
And they're and a lot of the high school teams here, like that you see in the tournament, they're all coached by former NHL players. I mean, that's wasn't Matt Cullen the coach of Moorhead that won the
Moorhead?
state?
Hartford Whaler.
Like,
Yeah.
is he head coach or assistant? I can't remember. I know he's there
Something like that.
regardless.
Yeah.
Yep. And
It's just like
well, 'cause-
crazy spectacle.
well, you got Cullen's kid, and is it Vanek's kid too?
Oh, I think Josh Harding was another coach. The former
yes.
Wild goalie
Yep.
was another coach there too. And then Kurt Giles is the coach of Edina, longtime Minnesota North Star. And so just an amazing tournament. It's a source of pride. And I've said it before, but this is, why do they call Minnesota the state of hockey? It's because of this. It's not because of our, NHL teams that can never win or but it's this tournament which is unlike any other in the world. I mean, you'll have, like I said, 100,000 people over a 3-day span go to the games.
I mean, and that's all. There's standing room up top and below the first level here. I mean, that's how they pack them all in there, and that's amazing. It's a great scene for a high school hockey game. I love it.
And again, the last thing I'll say too is, and we see these stories every year here locally. It's such a driving force here that, and I think I mentioned this once before, but every year we have kids that turn down going to the U.S. National Development Program because they don't want to leave high school because they want to have the chance to play in this tournament.
Yep.
So
Like, this is the dream of when you're from Minnesota. It's not playing in the NHL. The first dream is playing in this tournament.
Yep.
Is there like an Olympic village? Do they shove the little kids in a bunch of tents and they sneak out
No,
at
there's a
night?
bunch of hotels that get crazy around the Excel and stuff like that. So very cool. Thank you, Louis, for the deep dive and indulging all of us in our Minnesota pride. But we
Dove deep.
No, it was awesome. I learned a little bit from that too. I didn't know a lot of that beginning stuff, so why not?
Okay, are we ready to move on to the next story?
Oh, yes. Yes, this fun one.
I don't even know this. What's going on?
Oh, well, you're going to get more than you probably wanted to know here.
Okay.
So, Panini versus Fanatics antitrust lawsuit update. So, if you're not in the loop, the litigation between Fanatics and Panini America continues to grind through the courts. So basically, Fanatics is accusing Panini of illegally interfering with their business relationships and the ways in which Fanatics obtained its league and PA deals. Excuse me. While Panini then is accusing Fanatics of antitrust practices, claiming that Fanatics conspired to control the trading card market. Fanatics noted in its lawsuit that Panini does not have legal standing regarding its antitrust claims. However, the judge said in her report that Panini adequately pleaded facts that supported its claim that Fanatics enjoys monopoly power, that's what she said, because it can
wow.
set prices and freeze out competitors. The judge's ruling allows Panini to pursue antitrust liability. That includes a possible court order against the implementation of the exclusive long-term arrangements to produce and market trading cards.
Well, let's stop
Now,
there for a minute. So think
okay,
about that. As this plays out,
That's big.
if a result is that no company can have an exclusive long term deal, that would be a total game changer for the
Yeah,
hobby.
that's huge, man. This is a big deal.
And I
Wow.
think we're a long ways for that.
oh
And
yeah,
big companies can draw out these proceedings. I mean, as long as you're willing to pay lawyers endlessly, you can draw it out.
yep,
But I think it is noteworthy that because of course from Fanatics' position they wanted this dismissed and thrown away, and the judge in
mhm,
this case is saying, I've heard enough where we're going to let this continue."
right,
So it takes a while, litigation and
Hmm.
like you think years?
Yeah,
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
hmm,
But
whatever.
I don't know. I mean, it goes back to that. Would it be better for the consumer, for the hobbyist like we are, if you weren't allowed to? I know Upper Deck, and I know Fanatics, and I know Panini. They all want a million-year exclusive deal,
hmm,
but God, how much would it be awesome to have Tops Upper Deck and Tops hockey cards, right? I don't want it
yeah,
to be
That would
one.
be amazing, and that's what we deserve.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well,
I,
and again, one thing that we are so fortunate in the hockey world is we've had this whole year of Palooza.
hmm,
Well, the basketball world has had just as big, if not better, rookie and Victor Wembanyama. And if you're a basketball diehard like we love hockey, there's no licensed rookie auto. So there will never be a Victor Wembanyama licensed rookie auto because Panini had the license to make the cards with his Spurs jersey on it, and Fanatics has the license can only do an auto. So you either get a unautoed card with the Spurs jersey or a unlicensed card in a blank. And I mean, how does that help the hobby?
Doesn't it? Stupid.
no, it's
It's
terrible.
super silly. It's yeah, it's silly. Look, that aside, I'll keep it simple. Upper Deck's my favorite company by far. So I'm
Mhm.
super happy they have the NHL license, right? Like
Right.
that alone. So I do say sometimes, oh, I wish they had more licenses, but I would never want Upper Deck to go away. I would love
No.
Tops to try and best Upper Deck. I don't think they
Yeah.
would be able to. Their fingers on the hockey market a little too good,
Mhm.
in certain things. I don't think their fingers on other things very well at all, where I think, Fanatics would be. So, but in general, I think Upper Deck's a much better car or product company than the other ones. And I'm very grateful that they have our NHL license.
You seem to keep close tabs on Upper Deck's fingers, Phil.
Yeah, well, sometimes they smell
Gross.
peculiar.
Um,
You don't know where those fingers have been. Blueberry pie, maybe.
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it'll be drawn out, and who knows what. And sometimes too, it's like this kind of comes down to whoever has more money to outlast the other in legal expenses. And I don't know how big of a ultimately company Panini is. I know that's an Italian company first and foremost, and if they want to go into the coffers to really battle the billions that Fanatics has.
yep.
And
Yeah.
who loses out of all this? We do,
Oh,
Oh yeah.
Not so much us, but our cousins in card collecting.
Sure.
well, yeah. I mean, imagine if there's like this had happened again, Upper Deck in 2015, and now we're 10 years later, and there's no licensed McDavid rookie autos. It's any McDavid rookie auto is him in a blank white jersey. Something.
Yeah,
like
could you imagine? Brutal.
that. Oh, that would suck. All right.
Right.
We move on.
Yeah.
Or anything else you want to highlight on this?
Oh, yeah. No, there's good stuff in here. So also, so then a Fanatics spokesman came back and said Panini is just using this lawsuit as a tool to deflect from its own failings in a desperate attempt to slow down Fanatics, and that the facts will show that Panini has lost touch with its customers and continues to be unwilling and unable to keep pace with what collectors in the hobby want.
And fulfill their redemption, from what I've heard.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Yeah.
So,
They don't do redemptions, apparently. Isn't that the big knock on Panini? They don't answer their phone. They don't.
Wow.
Well, they do redemptions. They just don't redeem them.
Yeah. Anyone can take a reservation. You have to hold the reservation. I hope you know that one. That's a famous one. You should know that one.
I don't. And honestly, one of the things I'm appreciating about you more and more, I appreciate a lot about you, of course, is how many people love your movie references that go
Oh,
right
really?
over my head. Oh,
They
yeah.
make comments?
I don't think I've
Good, yeah.
gotten. I've probably seen 50 comments about, oh, it's so sweet when Phil threw in that, and I don't think a single time I'd caught one of them. I'm sure Louis is better at that than me, but I'm an
I'll
idiot.
try and get better that you can pick up on them. I'll ask my buddies at macro refinement department and see what they say.
Okay.
So in case you don't know anything about Fanatics, and you might not, I wouldn't have unless I been digging into this stuff and following it for a while, but in 2026, Fanatics will possess what could possibly be dominant control of the market for at least the next 10 years. The degree of control Panini is stating violates antitrust laws and will harm consumers. Since 2021, Fanatics has been on that hard charge in the trading card market. They acquired Topps in 2022 and negotiating 10-year agreements with the NBA Players Association, and 20-year deals with the NFL Players Association, and MLBPA, which, summer
20
schedule
years.
begin in
Holy
2026. It's insane. So just to close up what's going on in the court area there. So late Monday, the judge ruled that the two lawsuits filed by both of them, they can continue and she's permitting both sides 21 days to refile with any more evidence that they want to bring forward. So I don't know. We're all caught in the middle of it, and I think this is going to be a year or more before it even comes to a head. And as much as I shouldn't say I don't want to say it. I don't know what's going to happen or what's going to go on with it, but I wouldn't be surprised if Fanatics just buys Panini.
Yeah, I mean that could be another just angle to make them go away as you buy them.
Wouldn't that prove Panini's point? If they listen, you're an antitrust. This is an antitrust suit. We're just going to buy you. Okay, we're good. We'll settle. Like what? Doesn't that reaffirm their whole position? Whatever.
True.
All right. Well, thank you for our lawsuit corner of. It's awesome. We have to talk about that. Who added the Aaron Ekblad story? Was that
I
Phil?
did.
Phil
Okay.
did.
Okay. You got the conch. Oh, I made a movie reference.
Oh,
Aaron Ekblad, he's suspended for 20 games. On March 10th, 2025, Florida Panthers defenseman Aaron Ekblad was suspended for 20 games without pay by the NHL for violating the terms of the NHLPA Performance Enhancing Substance Program. This announcement came from the league and was followed by a statement from Ekblad via the NHL Players Association. Ekblad, I'm not going to read the whole thing. Ekblad issued an official statement through the NHLPA, and he expressed regret and took responsibility for the violation. There's always a but. He stated that when he had been working with a nutritionist and unknowingly ingested a substance, I'm sure it was pseudoephedrine, just like everybody else, ingested a substance that was not permitted under the NHLPA program.
Aaron, sniff this flower up your nose, please.
Yeah. Who'd have gave it to him?
Digest wheat better.
Okay. He emphasized that he did not intend to cheat. There's that C word again, or gain an unfair advantage, describing the incidents as an honest mistake. NHL's official announcement noted that Ekblad would be ineligible to play until the 27th of April when the Panthers face Colorado Avalanche. So, did Aaron know? He says he doesn't. Do I think? I'll offer it. Do I think he knew? Do I think he didn't know? Probably not, but maybe. So that's the way I see that. I just I'm very well rehearsed in this category, and I just want to make it very clear to the good listener that there is so many people, always so many athletes at the professional level that view anything performance enhancing, whether it's drugs or anything that gives you an edge, they'll do it. They will do it. Whether they can hide it and maybe the consequence isn't enough, I don't know, but performance enhancing drugs have been around since sports has been around. Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle is a heavy amphetamine user and was, but nobody talks about that. It's a public knowledge. You can go look that all up. It's very, very well, it's not common, but steroids and PEDs are taboo, right? We all
was greenies in baseball, right? Wasn't that?
Yeah, it's greenies, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Look good, you feel good. Yeah, like it's I'm a bit of a libertarian that way. I think everything should be allowed. That would level the playing field. That's a controversial statement, but I come Friday nights with Phil. You want to talk about this topic? Come on Friday nights with Phil. I love this topic because I'm very well educated in it. And if you have questions, I'd love to answer them. I've personally done them many years ago. So you have someone you can ask that's done them many times, and I can get rid of the mysterious stigma around it. I hope Ekblad comes back bigger and stronger, and I wish him nothing but the best. So
doesn't happen a lot in hockey. You don't see this story.
I just don't think you know a lot about it. I mean, I could tell stories and look, Ben Johnson. You guys all think Carl Lewis won your gold medal, right? He's more doped up than Ben Johnson, right? Like, did you know that? Did you know Ben Johnson failed 3 drug tests that race, but they were preliminary? So they're like, oh, well, it wasn't the race. Like, it's all, the human factor gets in there. And
do you guys remember the whole Dan and Dave thing, the decathlon from the Olympics, like in the early 90s, where it was a big Reebok, and I think one was Canadian, one was in the US, and one of them got caught.
They got popped, yeah. So my theory is everybody, you just hear about the ones that got caught, I have personal experiences, Canadian weightlifting team, you're not a bodybuilder. Like Chris Hemsworth did not turn into Thor with a good diet. Come on, guys. Come on. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger has admitted it. Mr. Olympia, Chris Bumstead, who's from my town. He's from, Stittsville right beside. He's very open about his drug use, and he's Mr. Olympia. People aren't paying attention. They don't want, how I willfully turned to, I don't want to know. That's a lot of people are doing that. And that's a safety mechanism, and that's okay. That's totally cool, Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know it's kind of an HR thing, so I probably shouldn't go too much into it, but we busted Louis. He's, he wanted to get the edge on, he's feeling there's other producers out there that are a little better than him. And
Hasselhoff's giving him a run for his money. I'm not letting this little jerk cave replace me.
Yeah.
Pop. Yeah. I love this topic. I love the pursuit of excellence, and the waters are muddy in this. There's lots of documentaries, Bigger, Stronger, Faster, Evictus. Probably saying that wrong, but I have no issues with any steroids in moderation. You only hear about the bad things, right? You only hear, and from Nancy Reagan's Just Say No campaign, steroids got grouped into that. Steroids killed my kid. Like, probably not, dude. So it's a very
taboo. I don't know enough about to know what's.
Well, Friday nights with Phil. If anybody listening's like, this guy's crazy and doesn't know what he's talking, come, let's talk, let's chat. I love this topic.
Half the people die because they just take too much, and
yes,
it's
not good for you, man. Less is more. Right. I had a very good person who showed me, and he had a very good person who showed him. Less is more. Less is always more in this game. Always, a lot of men, like my brother works at the local gym. Every 2 to 3 days, he empties the big sharp container
Yeah.
thing on the wall because people are dropping there, but nobody talks about it, right? No, everybody's on, guys. Everybody's on, and most people don't know how to do it right because steroids are 10-15%. I know I made the kitchen joke, but if your diet's not in check, if you're not getting good sleep, if you're taking Advil every day because you have some ailment, you're not in the good place, you do not take steroids. Everything's got to be dialed in. And if you want that 10%, 15% edge, then you hop on.
You're not recommending people do that though, are you?
No, of course not. But if you want to, I think you should if you want. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't your body. Like I mean, there's oral, there's injectable.
I just want to be clear that we're not advocating that.
No, of course not. No, natural's always the best, right? I try not to even take Advil. I can't remember I took Advil a few days ago, but I try not to take anything ever. I was young and dumb more, right? But I had good teachers and I did it very smart. I'm very grateful for that experience in my life. And I have no regrets. None.
But
None
don't
whatsoever.
do it because it's bad.
It's bad. Yeah, don't do it. But if you want to talk more, Friday Nights with Phil, would love to talk about Ekblad suspension, to get more specific NHL players, what type of steroids they might be using, other players that have been gotten caught that you don't know about, things like that. Come Friday, we'll chat.
Are they illegal in Canada?
Well, cortisone. I mean, that's not anabolic, but is cortisone performance enhancing? It numbs pain.
Well, you can say Advil's performance enhancing. It lowers
of course,
inflammation.
cortisone's performance, but it's legal, right?
Yeah.
So legal in most people's minds is good, and illegal is bad. I don't look at life that way. Just because a governing body of people said something is illegal, I'd like to think about the thing myself, and I generally agree, right? Violence, usually bad. I agree, right? Stealing, bad. I agree. These are common societal things I agree with. But so Anavar is an oral steroid. That's not illegal. That's given to burn victims with very little side effects. It's given to children. But most women take Anavar because that's very little side effects. And you can have.
But is it's
very
must
mild.
Be legal with a prescription, I assume. Like you can't go to
but there's
7-Eleven
underground pharmacies everywhere. Everywhere. I don't think these little kids at the gym are going to get prescriptions from their GPs, man. There's steroids are very easily bought. There's a whole subculture out there, man. It's not hard. Yeah, it's not hard.
But don't do it. It's bad.
Don't do it. It's bad. Yeah, it's fun to talk about, though. Yeah.
Okay.
That's my hobby news.
Holy boy.
Does it make you a better collector? Like if you, no, it can make it crack.
You could
Maybe
probably
easier
figure out
to
some other
crack
supplements and
slabs.
really organize your collection really quickly and efficiently.
It'd be like Adderall or something like that. But don't
Yeah,
do that.
Adderall. Yeah, I've never
that could be
tried
a
Adderall.
fentanyl in it. Yeah, it's the other thing.
That would kill me. Adderall would kill me.
Ugh.
Never take.
Okay, we're gonna move on. I don't want drug talk. Jesus. All right, we're gonna move on to hobby over underrated. It's been a minute since we've done it. It's honestly one of my favorite segments we do on the show. Love doing this. I really like getting a read as to kind of where the hobby's at as it relates to specific cards, players, sets, trends, stuff like that. So what we do is we hoist up the old Gongshow hobby poll. There it is. And for 24 hours, we give the good listener and social media follower a chance to vote overrated or underrated on 12 hobby-related topics. Now, part of why it's so fun is we get there's over 5,000 total votes.
That's crazy.
That's awesome.
We should ask more questions. That's a great sample size.
12. That's a lot, right? So how we're going to do this is we're going to go through each topic. We're going to all give our opinions. And then Phil, since you're the only one who hasn't seen the results, you're going to get to guess how the hobby voted, and we'll see how good of a guesser you are.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So here's topic 1 for over underrated Macklin Celebrini.
Okay, so what do I think the hobby said?
Well, we'll all give our own opinions, and then you'll guess what the hobby says. So, I think he's underrated. I'm gonna go underrated.
I think he's underrated.
Underrated.
What do you think the hobby thinks?
Underrated.
What was the answer, Babaloy?
Oh,
you got it. Wow.
Wait, was there a ding there?
Yeah.
Man, we're pro, eh? Freaking Louis pro. That's great. Yeah.
Hey, teamwork makes the dream work, man. Yeah, 79% said underrated to 21% said overrated. So by a large majority, people think he's a little bit underrated.
A little bit.
A little bit. Okay. Question number 2. Was that surprise you, first of all, that it's that overwhelming?
Yes. Yes, I thought now maybe people are like, well, it might be a little, maybe the pendulum's swinging a little too far because everyone's. I still think Lane Hudson's going to win the Calder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Louis, does that surprise you? Is almost 80%?
No.
Oh,
No,
okay.
the reason why is because so much was put on Bedard, and then
Yeah.
So
Well, he's the shiny new toy. We'll see
Right.
what happens when people move on to somebody else if this changes. Okay,
Agree.
question number 2, Phil, is 23-24 Skybox EX-2000, the set that came out today. What do you guys think? Do you guys think the hobby, or do you personally think it's overrated, underrated? And Phil, what do you think the hobby thinks?
I'm sorry. I think the hobby is going to say. When did you do the? Well, I'm going to go with my gut. I think the hobby's going to say it's overrated.
Hmm.
Do you want to ask what I think?
Yeah, what do you
we
think?
did.
Yeah, you know what I think. I we'll talk about it after, but I think the hobby thinks it's overrated.
Okay. What do you think, Louis?
From what I've seen, I think it's overrated. I like the other ones better.
All right. Well, what does the hobby say?
Oh,
Phil's right.
2 for 0.
64% of the hobby said it's overrated to 36% said it's underrated. Well, I think it's underrated, so
It's my show, so I'm right. Get out of here.
All right, so 63-37, whatever.
Yeah, there you go. Question number 3. Upper Deck Allure.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah. What do you think, Phil? What is it? What do you think personally, and what does the hobby think?
I think the hobby says it's underrated. I think the hobby's smart, and I give the hobby credit here.
What do you think, Louis? What do you think personally about Allure? Do you think it's underrated or overrated?
I think it's underrated. I love Allure.
Well, Phil, your guess was that the hobby would say it's underrated. Let's see the answer.
Survey says, well, I'm not happy. Come on, guys. Allure's great.
59% of respondents said that Allure is overrated to 41% being underrated.
Boo. I like Allure. It should be the ultimate insert product. Get rid of the autos.
Well, that part can go.
Yeah.
Okay, question number 4. Jambalayas.
Overrated.
Overrated on all fronts.
All right. Well, what did the hobby say, Louis, about jambalayas?
They said overrated.
Good. Jambalaya.
Yeah. Same percentage, almost 59 to 41 said overrated. Same percentage as the lures. That's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Almost exact.
the mail never stops.
Oh, here's a very, very intriguing one.
Oh,
Number 5 is Dylan Cousins.
You're a jerk. You're such a jerk. Why do you got it, man? It's such a beautiful thing happens I'm so happy I've had kids by now. If I had a kid, you'd be like, "Oh God, Phil, what'd you do?" Like
You're gonna name your next kid Dylan, I suppose.
Oh man.
All right, Phil. What do you think? Is the hobby on Team Phil, or is the hobby thinking he's a little overrated? What do you think?
When did you ask the question? When did you post it?
Yesterday.
The hobby says he's underrated, and
No,
Phil
you think
says
so?
he's underrated.
What do you think, Louis? What's your personal opinion?
I think he's underrated, but
Thank you,
that's
Louis.
because of where he was.
Thank you, Louis.
I think he's overrated. Yeah, I'm
You're
just being
such
honest.
you.
But
Piece
what did
of
the
work.
hobby say, Louis? What did the hobby say about Dylan Cousins?
Oh,
By a whisker, Phil. By a whisker.
meowsers. Thanks, guys. Thanks. hobby.
Underrated 51% to 49%.
Yeah.
Dylan Cousins underrated. Well,
That's
that
Team
is-
Phil. Team Loud right there. Loud Squad.
It doesn't matter how much you win by, it's just that you win, right, Phil? So,
Yep. I'm a math man. 51% I'll always bet on.
mhm. All right, next question. The Ovechkin goals chase.
Horrible. Oh God.
What do you think, Phil? Do you think
What? How do I overrate or underrate a scenario?
I don't know. It's a hockey podcast. This isn't like
Okay.
nuclear physics here, but
So do I think the chase, like the aura
The
of the
popularity, how
the popularity
cool it is.
of it, or people getting, following the OV goal chase, the hobby response, the whole.
Oh well,
shebang.
I think it's accurate. I medium.
No, you have to say
Oh.
over underrated.
50%.
No,
Do-
you have
do
to
you-
say over or underrated.
I would say the Ontario. Honestly, my gut, this is a bigger deal than people are making it out to be. I think it's underrated.
Personally, and what do you think
Yeah,
the hobby
personally. No, I think I think it'll be close, but the hobby will say overrated, but I think it'll be a 51-52. My feelings, my heart is screaming, this is a monumental thing that's happening right now.
Yeah.
And we're not going to see another record in our lifetime, probably not like this. So this is huge. Huge.
So this isn't a math show, but 51-52 would be 103.
What?
Right?
No, like 51-52% of the hobby will say it's overrated. But I
Gotcha.
think it's underrated, yeah.
What do you think personally, Louis? Do you think it's underrated, overrated?
I think it's underrated. It should be talked about more even. This is a big deal.
Well, Phil says the hobby thinks it's overrated, so let's see what they said.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Well,
no.
good. That's a good to be wrong on that one. Good.
Yeah, a pretty overwhelming margin.
Yeah.
74% of the hobby respondents said underrated to 26% overrated.
Yeah, it's a crazy feat what's happening right now. It's insane.
All right, the next one, the Outburst Red Parallel.
Underrated on both.
Okay. What do you think, Louis?
I think they're underrated.
I do too. Let's see what the hobby said. If the hobby agrees with Phil in his guess.
Yeah.
Another pretty big winner.
Ding, ding,
68% said underrated. 32% said overrated. Oh, there you go.
Smart group.
All right. Question number 8 of 12. The Four Nations Tournament.
Oh.
Now that it's settled with us a little bit, that'd be kind of a fun one to get the read
underrated,
on.
underrated, yeah.
You think so?
Yeah. They should do it every 2-3 years, though. Every year is a little too much.
It's like Grip Party. We can't do it every expo, right?
Yeah, once a year, not every expo, yeah.
All right, Louis, what do you think? Underrated or overrated, personally?
It's underrated.
Yeah.
That was the best thing I ever watched in a long time.
Can I make a controversial statement about this?
No.
Am I
Moving
allowed?
on.
Permission?
Sure.
Please? I think the event itself is underrated, but winning it is, but it's like the outcome of winning it might be overrated, right? Because it's like you don't. It's not like a coveted championship. It's more that Canada beat the USA than winning whatever trophy thing.
Yeah, there's bragging rights. That's what it's a boys bragging rights.
Yeah, bragging rights. There you go. All right. What did the hobby say?
Well, they said it's underrated.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Wow. 86% said underrated to 14% said overrated.
Nice.
So smashing success.
Smashing.
All righty. Well, although he's only good because of Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl.
No.
Oh, no, sorry. National Hockey Cards Day. Draisaitl's after that. National Hockey Cards Day coming up in April 5th, I believe.
Oh, we actually have one? Well, we might as well, yeah.
Yeah, you get free packs at like the LCS and stuff like that.
Oh,
you know about that?
No, I can't wait to tell Dan and Jimmy. They owe me a couple of boxes because it's National Hockey Cards Day.
Couple boxes.
They make their own set for it, Protectors. But so what do you think? You're an expert, obviously, on this, Phil, so I can't wait to get your insight. What do you think the hobby says? Over, underrated?
I think the hobby says it's underrated because they probably didn't know about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think, Louis? In your mind, is it over or underrated?
I gotta say on this one, I really can't even give an opinion because I've never gone to a shop to get a pack.
Okay. Well, let's see what the hobby said.
Why would you buy me a gun rack, Stacy? I don't even know.
I don't have a gun.
Wow. Pretty much a dead heat. So is that a boo? I don't know. I forgot what you guessed, so I just did them all.
I said overrated.
Oh, you did?
No, I don't know.
Okay, by a whisker again. It was 51% said overrated, 49% said underrated. Again, almost 5,000 total votes on this, so it's crazy. Okay, now question number 10. Leon Draisaitl.
Underrated.
Leading scorer in the NHL.
Yeah, no, he's underrated, 100%. We know that.
You think so too, Louis?
Oh yeah.
What do you think the hobby voted, Phil?
Underrated.
All right, let's see what they said. Survey says.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
Who voted
again, though.
overrated? Who, you know, it was Calgary fans. That's 21% of our viewers are Calgary fans. That's Jeremy Lee right there.
79% said underrated, 21% said overrated. Probably crabby at them. That's why they call them overrated. All right, question 11. You might
They're
find
not
this one
playing very
interesting,
well right
Phil.
now, eh? Edmonton.
This one's awesome.
Young Guns acetate.
But there's a caveat to this one though. I think.
Way underrated. Way underrated. Yeah, people don't even know. Half the people don't even know about them.
If you haven't had one in hand,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
very underrated.
So you think underrated? What do you think the hobby?
Oh
said?
yeah, the hobby might say overrated. I don't. The people I know respect the acetates, but I think they might be so much unattainable for most that they don't like them, so they'll say overrated. I'm gonna say the hobby's gonna say overrated, but the hobby's wrong.
All right, Louis. What do the hobbies say?
Oh no, this is good. I want to be wrong on that. Good. I'm so sorry. Apologies to the hobby.
Big majority. The hobby says underrated. 79% to 21%, and we lost Phil. Oh, is Kitty mad or what? What's going on with Kitty?
No, he's at the door. They're watching a movie. He's scared.
No, he's like me. He doesn't like
him and Josh can hang out and we watch movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I'm gonna fully admit that I feel like hindsight being 2020, I screwed up now. I wish I would have followed this up with Young Guns Clear Cut to see the difference and how the hobby perceives both of those cards. Because I actually find, and I'll just share my personal opinion here, but I think Clear Cut's a little bit overrated. Would you guys agree with that?
The way it's allocated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I love Clear Cut, but I got so lucky. I'm never buying another Clear Cut box.
No. I meant a Young Guns Clear Cut card. So like out of flagship. If acetate is overwhelmingly underrated, like
it's because of this exists though. If acetates wasn't around, I think Clear Cut would be really cool. You know?
Right.
I got you. All right, question 12. We've done this all 3 times, and I do it because I want to see over time how the answers change. But Connor Bedard, does the hobby think he's overrated or underrated?
I feel like this is an unfair question. There's a lot of levels to this.
I know it's hard to figure out. You can convince yourself easily both ways, right?
Yep. Deep do I let it go in me noggin?
Well, has his stock fallen where now people are kind of thinking, because that's what human nature is. Like you build them up on a pedestal, then you knock them down, and then you try to build them back up again, right?
He is going to be. You can't say if he's ever going to be. He's not going to be Connor McDavid. I'd be great if he was. But I think he's going to have like a Jeremy Roenick, like what other player would be, a mid top tier player, more top. He won't be a superstar, but I think he is. I think people are really cutting him short right now. He is extremely talented. They got rid of Jones. Already he's playing better. I personally think he's underrated, and I think the hobby is going to say overrated because of the hobby.
Right.
What do you think personally, Louis?
Not because of his own doing. I think he's overrated.
Sure, like the bar was set so high, you could never live up to it.
Not his fault, right?
I think he's overrated.
Damn good hockey player, though.
Oh, of course, and I hope he's great. It only helps the hobby for him to be awesome. So, but what did the hobby say?
Overrated, yeah. I thought it'd be more than that. Okay.
70% to 30%. The hobby said he's overrated. So.
Yeah, that's 30% of people holding his cards on eBay. They're like, come on, buy the card. He's underrated.
Yeah.
That's all the shop owners, spicers do.
Oh, it was fun. Do you guys like doing that?
I love it, man. I love it. I love this. Yeah.
It's awesome when you get kind of a read on what people think, right? Because we're locked in our own minds and our own biases and opinions so often. But okay, we're going to move on. New product releases brought to you by your friends and partners at Mint Inc. There's always something going on at Mint Inc. at either their Vaughan or Davenport locations. Whether it's a complete line of hockey products like hobby boxes galore, tons of singles or other memorabilia. You can drop off Slab Shark submissions at Mint Inc. now, or drop off cards that get graded by PSA or other group submissions. And they're also, just as much, they're known for their they do a ton of fun and amazing events. The next trade night is this Friday, March 14th. They also have they have a National Hockey Card Day event in April that's planned too that you could go to. You can register for all these at mintinc.ca. And speaking of mintinc.ca, they are an authorized internet retailer, meaning they can ship new boxes anywhere in Canada.
Anywhere?
Louis, yeah, anywhere. Our guy Phil, you know Phil, right?
I've
Phil?
heard of him.
You heard of him? Okay, yeah. Well, check this out. So he's telling me he needs to make some extra cash to fund. He's really into Dylan Cousins, wants to get a whole bunch of cup rookies, but it's a tough times. Money's a little tight, and he's thinking about taking a summer job mining the iron ore in the iron ore mines in Labrador City, in Newfoundland and Labrador.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, the only thing holding him back was making sure he had access to hobby boxes, because you can't live without getting your new hobby boxes, right? And when I reminded him again, Mint Ink ships anywhere in Canada, and you never have to worry about where you are, because they'll just ship the new, whether it's Skybox or Series 2, they can ship them right to him, right in the mines in Newfoundland. And I guess it worked, because just the other day I got this postcard from our guy Phil. There he is.
Nice.
In the iron ore mines in Labrador City.
Oh my God.
So I love it when people take my advice. It makes me feel like I'm helping.
I'm happy.
Oh yeah.
That's
Anywhere
good.
in Canada, just go to mintinc.ca and be like Phil. Go get a job in the mines.
Or don't.
All right. Now I'm excited. Have a little conversation about the new release today, Skybox EX-2000. Here's where I want to start. Phil, I just want you to go. I want you to say your piece, and then I'll spend the next 20 minutes telling you why you're wrong. How's that sound?
No, I don't think something subjective can be wrong or right.
Yeah, fair point.
I'll keep it totally simple. I thought there was going to be more inserts in the set, and that's it. I think the cards are beautiful. I think the designs are great. It's just it feels there's a lot of base. I know it's not base, but it has that feeling because they're designed
all about the base.
And I saw a double helix get pulled today. What a card. Out of 50. Oh my God, stunning. The Stardome, awesome. They come in autos too. I'm really there's a McDavid on eBay right now for $1,000. Man, I'd love to buy that card.
People are asking ridiculous prices for all this stuff on eBay. It's like,
yeah. So my biggest beef is just I would love. I mean, I'm gonna open a box on Friday with Nights with Phil. We're also gonna be giving away one. The price point is a real turnoff for a lot of people, and that's a shame because I do think it's an excellent product. If I had to nitpick it, I wish there was more inserts and less $2.99 base, $4.99 base. Things of that nature. And that's it. Those are my beefs. That's all. I was just I really thought there'd be a lot more weird stuff. I was really excited for weirdness, and I just didn't see it. So
I think that that this is a niche product for certain people like me, and it's not gonna make everybody happy. It is pretty weird, and so that I'm a little surprised that you think that it's
like
not
what's weird.
enough.
The arrow die cut. Yeah, that's weird. Okay,
Yeah,
maybe it's too much die cut. I don't know. I think for 2 cards a pack, you buy a box for 300 Canadian dollars. You're what's the big chase? Is it double helix? Is that the big chase?
It's the parallels. It's the parallels of the base, like the low number, the essential credentials. I mean, that's the
okay. Well, I think that's a bit of a swing and a miss because of all the breaks I saw today, no one had that feeling. Right. So maybe what would be really good, and this would be a great product to use as an example. If a month ago they got podcasts like us and threw us some pictures and we could start ramping up the interest of a box, I think that would have made it less of a surprise today for a lot of people, right? I would love to be like break pictures of the cards.
Yeah. It's definitely not for everyone. And what we've heard consistently for a very long time, getting feedback, or Upper Deck has told us this themselves, and feedback from card shops, is that any product that comes out where there isn't guaranteed one auto in a box becomes a tough sell. for a card shop because the average collector wants to know that they're going to get an auto.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my perspective on that has always been, it's like, well, yeah. I mean, listen, I would love to get a Sidney Crosby auto in a box, but it's 99 times out of 100, it's a Liam Foudy, and that doesn't do much for me, right? And so it's like, I don't look at it that way because it's like, I value a tough to get insert or a really good card. It doesn't have to be an auto card to make me happy in a box. But I get though that that's what people think, and so the fact that there's so few autos in EX-2000 is gonna be a jolt, I think, to some people's expectations. Um, I was like very happy and pleasantly. I love this set.
Now I got a
Good.
question for you though, because you love this set.
Mm-hmm.
I think your mind was already made up because you liked the last time so much. So no matter what, you were gonna like it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it fits my wheelhouse to a T. I think these are
It
like
still
the
does.
nicest base cards I've ever seen.
Yeah, like the production quality is phenomenal.
These are
Phenomenal.
crazy
Hold in
nice.
hand. Yeah, they're beautiful.
No, I think it looks cool.
They're like a sandwich. They got multi-layer of stuff. They've got PETG sandwiched into cardboard. There was a little bit of die cutting issues.
What
but
a
after that,
difficult
tried
set to build. I mean,
Mhm.
I could only imagine how much that cost. So I think that's maybe why it's expensive. I'm just guessing. I have no idea.
Oh, I'm
But
sure.
I would assume the amount of production. So I just don't think it'd be worth it, right? Like,
I think it's going to be tough. Like if you're of the mindset where I want to open a box and have a good chance to make my money back on eBay
Oh
tonight,
no.
well, don't
gonna
then get out of
be
cards.
Right.
Get out of cards.
Yeah.
Stop that.
Mhm.
That's I'm so tired of that. There's no $400 Makar. And there's so many people that think that was normal. It's not normal. Stop. It's the worst asset class in the entire world. Get out of it if that's your goal. We have
Well,
to start empowering our listeners more to I think there's a lot smarter than sometimes we think, because most people know that. And if you're complaining that you're not getting your money back when you buy a box, it's getting to the point where how many times do you get electrocuted when you stop putting the fork in the socket?
Mhm.
Like the questions the person's grasping,
Mhm.
you know.
Well, I'm glad it worked out for you because that the reason I said that is, I mean, you had a little time gap in between getting another set, or another product,
Yeah.
but 2022-23 Parker's Champions. I loved it. I couldn't wait for the next one to come out. But
Yeah.
I don't like them.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I mean,
half as much,
we're finicky, right, in what we do like, and
Yeah.
this is like
Your own
the
card
cup.
snob. Be a
Mhm.
card snob. I'm a card snob.
But
I
I
don't
was
think
so
there's a lot of
jacked.
value at oh, sorry. I was
Oh,
gonna say, I
you're
don't
fine.
think there's a lot of value at 230. Like, I get that perspective, and I think that'll be disappointing, but I'm actually selfishly hoping it comes down in price so
Mhm.
I can buy more because and I get it, like, my opinion is gonna be the unpopular one, but I think that's part of what makes the hobby great too, is that, if every product was homogeneously built to satisfy one archetype of collector, then it would be boring, right? It's like I want to have sets that have zero appeal to me, but I can totally get how someone that collects in this way would love this set. And then other sets that feel like that they're built just for me, right? I mean, that's the and with as much product as Upper Deck kicks out, there should be plenty of room to try to cater to all the different types of collectors with new products.
You so back to the base set. We have so you have your regular credentials out of $4.99. You got blue out of $2.99. You have
Well, I'll run through it real quick. And Louis, why don't you throw up because I put up a couple of the base hits that I got.
Mhm. Oh.
And this is the set, Phil. It's not about so I did get a Bedard base. It looks fantastic. And an OV base too.
So
So
I'm a set collector. What give me an example of what, so I would collect all the blues. I'd collect the whole set for the blues. Would that be like an
yeah,
advantageous?
these are just different base designs. These aren't parallel. So like there's different colors that the base come in, and then there are parallels. There's the
Okay, so
all
that's
Oh,
access
hey,
credentials.
hold on. So you're saying there's like a Bedard in that Ovechkin color?
No,
Okay,
no,
I didn't
that's
think
just the
so.
color of the Bedard base.
Yep,
These are both
got
the
it.
same. I'm saying one of them isn't a parallel. And if you're listening, so the Bedard has like a blue and purple background, where the OVs is orange and yellow.
So base cards all have respective different unique colors to the player, but they're still base cards part of the set.
Yes.
Yeah. So for what I'm seeing, there's a more blue one, there's a purple, there's a green, and it's one of those colors.
So isn't one of the isn't $2.99 blue very similar to that purple Bedard card we're looking at?
I don't know. I didn't get one. Yes. So the parallels go. There's one ratioed parallel, which is the all access credentials, 1 in 108 packs, which is that's 1 in 4 boxes, roughly a little more than 4 boxes. Then you have credentials, which is this one. It's out of 499. So I'm showing a Sorokin. That the 2 numbered cards I got were out of 499 credentials.
It's too similar to the base design.
Mm-hmm. Well, it gets better. Like then there's the credentials blue, and then the essential credentials, and has more of the hollow foiling, and really kind of I didn't hit any, unfortunately.
Oh,
But
okay.
once you see them in hand, I think you'll get it. Then there's an essential credential that's out of 99. Then there's an essential credentials gold out of 50.
That's
all
gorgeous.
access. Yeah,
I saw that today. The 50 is a beautiful card. Very nice card.
Then there's an all access credentials gold out of 10, and then VIP credentials 101. Right. So it's a lot of parallels, but that's sort of the point. And it's really the chase starts at essential credentials at the out of 99. So the 99, the 50, the 10, and the 101, those are kind of the 4 key cards. And the rest are just more common parallels column. As far as inserts, go. What did I have next? To just throw it up, Louis.
Yep.
Oh, so this was probably my biggest hit. I got a Stardate 3000 Phil's Guy AM34, but I did get the numbered speckled parallel out of 99.
Nice. I love these cards. I want to pick some up. There's a McDavid auto on the bay right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's sticker auto though, I think, because fleers are usually all stickers.
Well,
it's not an auto product.
Then I'm not buying it.
And then probably the other kind of note, it was more of I just think it looked better in person than I saw as I got a Crosby all or nothing.
Well, here you had this one next.
Ooh, that's a great shot. Yeah.
So this is a set of, and this is just the base, so it's like 1 in 30 packs, and it's players that are presumptive Hall of Famers that are still playing, right?
Right.
You got a lot of Stardate cards, so I also got like Pasternak,
the Breadman.
I got some Red Wing Wallman.
Did you get any of those Arrow cards?
Oh yeah, I got 2. So I got Wyatt Johnston index. These are weird. the goalie one, I didn't get a great player. I got Peter Mrazek.
Net assets, I think they're called.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we were holding it up. So
those aren't bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it. Again, I'm not the person to ask because this is like my favorite type of set. And
it's the price point, dude. It's even if this is your favorite type of set, it should be $100.
Mm-hmm.
It should be
crazy. I actually went and watched Grant, and I'd never seen it before, but I have a box that I won't open of 2012 Fleer Retro, which is in the same family or vein as this. It has, and he a number of years ago he opened a box and it was crazy because that has like 2 inner boxes. I think you get like 6 autos or something like that, or 3 autos, and he got like 3 PMGs. So like those boxes were like loaded, right? Where I think this one is going to be, we're in the hobby's bigger now, and these sets are a little more watered down. But I'll go back to, I mean, I still think the base cards are insanely nice. I mean, there's going to be some condition issues on a number of them. There's some corner stuff because it's thicker cards, and in the pack out they tend, and maybe some edge issues. Oh, Philly boy.
Hey, you got one more, Josh.
Oh, okay. I'll shut.
Oh, look at my boy Dylan. It's my stepson.
Yeah.
The autograph, the Skybox autos are really sick too. They got a nice.
the
print there.
autographics.
Oh, the
Yeah, they're
autographics
very
are great.
nice. Very nice.
I saw, and maybe they are hard. I don't know. Maybe I spoke.
Yeah, that's on card.
They're
not
on
stupid.
card. That's my
Yeah.
next thing I was going to talk
Okay.
about.
Because traditionally Fleer autos are I saw a Dustin Wolf autographics on eBay. Super nice. They're
Josh,
asking
you're gonna get this.
75 bucks.
I see a case maybe in your future at the Spring Expo or Fall Expo, the Fall Expo.
Well, I think I'll wait to see that. I'm gonna try to buy some singles, but people are asking, like, I know
Oh,
you guys
yeah.
didn't really like it. That kind of like Jambalaya sort of
Mm.
the exceptional. It's
Yeah.
dash exceptional. I actually really like that card. But what people are asking for is nutty right now. Like,
On eBay? Yeah, don't do that. Are you crazy?
Yeah, you do not
like,
touch anything on eBay right now.
somebody's
Josh,
asking
you're too emotional right now. Louis,
I'm not-
take the computer away from him.
Oh, here's one
listened-
more. Here's one more that
Oh.
he got there.
Oh yeah, I got the reverberation.
Reverberation. I can't
No,
even
but
spell
I'll
that
give you an
word.
example of like how you got to be really like that exceptional is 1 in 576. So I mean it's not common, but that's not like super rare. Like for the OV, somebody's asking $1,200 right now. Like really?
Hmm.
For 1 in 500
Come on, Shelly.
card, that's not nice. Right? So prices there are a little, I think, out of whack. But yeah, I really like it. And so I was pleasantly surprised because I couldn't get my box until a little bit later in the afternoon today, and I had seen, I get it. The overall sentiment has been negative, and so that had sort of tempered my expectations. But again, this speaks to me.
Mhm.
I don't want you to get me wrong here. If it was a $99 box, I'd be all over this, man.
Sure.
I would be like, you know what? For what you get, this is a great product. The cards are beautiful. They're cut. Grant was saying they're cut very nice. A lot of care went into the cards. That's fantastic. You don't just because one thing is kind of poopy doesn't make something else poopy if it's involved. It's separate. The price point, I would say it's astronomically off. It's just
Well,
it's
it kind
not-
of sucks in retrospect, Phil, that it's 23, 24. I mean, imagine if they had held this off to 24, 25 and you didn't have the Bedard tax on there.
Well, hold on. Is it the Bedard tax or is it the
Yeah.
production
It has
cost?
to be. Has to be.
It's gotta be.
I don't know. These cards are
I mean,
pretty
I'm
fancy,
not
man.
saying it would
Like,
be-
must cost a lot of money
I'm
to
not
make.
saying it would be $100,
It should be.
Well,
but
be like
but
our
without
price,
Bedard
man.
tax, but it wouldn't be 230. Like, and
I'd pay
you know, you guys are-
$150 for this box.
Yeah, like it should be flat flagship pricing, maybe plus $10. Then set collect. Then I would build sets with you, right? Because if I buy a box and I don't need it, but you need it, we could. You find 3 or 4 buddies collecting the same sets as you. You get looser buying boxes because you have the perfect people to trade with,
Mhm.
right? I got like 5 or 6 Parker's Champions guys. That's how a lot of us finished the set, right?
Mhm. I don't
And,
have like the hobby lineage that other people do, but and I'm not predicting what I'm going to say for this set, but there has to be examples of other products that kind of fell flat, maybe
Yeah,
right out of the
O-Pee-Chee
gate,
Platinum, dude.
and then 10 years down the road, all of a sudden we're iconic, right?
People
So-
laughed at O-Pee-Chee in 2015.
Oh
it
yeah,
was-
yeah, that's the
dude,
perfect
it was a
example.
joke. They're like, I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure like Mickey Mouse. I heard that word in the same sense. Like, what is this? Mickey Mouse? Like goofy. It'll never sell. Now look at McDavid Seismic Gold.
Yeah, you could have bought McDavid rookies for nothing, and
for
be-
like a year and a half. Like it's still like
Yeah.
obviously it started to come up, like but I'd say a good 2 years, you were safe. You could buy whatever you wanted. I bought my
Mhm.
Brady Emerald 2018, 2019 for $1,000 non-auto, which is more expensive, but that's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy pricing. I could probably sell that again for the same price,
Mhm.
maybe.
All right. Any other comments on
No, I can't
EX-2000?
come over and see them though. I want to see them in hand.
Josh
That's
making a
gonna
hit
be
list
cool.
here. So let's recap. Phil likes the product. I just think it's a massive separation of the price. That's it.
Quit being
That's
so negative.
I don't know what that means.
What's that mean? Anywho,
Yeah, I like it. So, oh yeah, sorry,
Premiere
I
next
forgot
week,
about this. We got another little update from Upper Deck as far as the release calendar, looking at sort of what's next. So it's not going to stop, but we are going to move back. I mean, we've been on kind of like new releases every week. It's going to be a little bit more every 2 weeks, which I think is overall probably better for the hobby for at least the next month or so. So next up is a week from today, we're scheduled to have 23-24 Premiere, which is another big set. Big Bedard Rookie Patch Autos in that one. And then 2 weeks after that is 24-25 SP Game Used on April 2nd, which is the scheduled release date right now. And then a couple weeks later, we have 24-25 SPX NHL. So unless anything changes, we have 3 more sets that come out before the Spring Expo.
Mm-hmm.
Premier Bedard, eh? What are the prices of that going to be?
More. I mean, it's going to be, you're going to feel it, but
Have at it, people.
have at it. Okay. Personal pickups time. Phil, anything?
Yes.
Nada.
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 All right, Louis. What did you get?
I went homer on it a little bit. 24-25
nice.
Series 2 Young Gun renewed Nico Hischier.
I like that one. I like the.
That's a nice one.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool. And then while you guys were talking about stuff that I wasn't really into, I was shopping.
What?
And I got a 23-24 O-Pee-Chee Premier Diamond Rainbow.
Like during this
boy.
episode?
Yeah, this is like 20 minutes ago. Nico Hischier out of 75.
Well, what were we talking about that you didn't?
Buying cards while we're on the podcast? Well, can I do that?
No, you barely pay
guys-
attention as
we were
it is.
talking
Phil.
about drugs and stuff, and I was shopping for cards.
Oh, yeah.
Drugs? What do you? Oh, steroid. Oh, anyways, get out of here.
Yeah. So yeah,
Great card. When you get it in hand, Louis, you're gonna be so happy. Yeah.
That's last year's, right? That's a
Yeah.
23.
I got the Bedsy of that one. Yeah,
I'm excited
Beautiful.
to see what this looks like.
it's gorgeous.
That's one of
man.
my favorite Bedsy rookies. So I think you're gonna like it too.
Cool.
Yeah.
I got 3 cards. I'm doing my work on holotypes a little bit. So I got a Nick Suzuki, Sebastian Aho,
See how good he's playing, man. Ooh, Suzuki's on fire lately.
and then
Yeah,
Bo
he
Horvat.
is. Oh,
I think I've got 15 of. I'm way behind. So I've
Poor
got
guy.
15
I
of
knew.
the
A,
30
did
now.
you guys know a Bo in elementary or high school? Like, what's up, body odor? It was so bad.
I always thought it was a cool name because of Dukes of Hazzard.
What? You watched
Bo
Dukes of
and
Hazzard?
Luke Duke, right?
I never watched Dukes of Hazzard.
Well, you can't even. I can't even admit that you watch that now. But yeah,
Why? What's wrong with it? It's a bad show.
Oh, I think it's seen as super racist probably right now. But I mean, in the
With
80s,
Daisy Dukes?
not because of General Lee.
Who's General Lee?
oh my god!
I don't know. Whatever.
You've never seen Dukes of Hazzard?
People
No.
are so soft.
No, I don't know. I'm soft because I don't know something.
Not you.
Get out of
No.
here.
No, so the
General.
General Lee was it a Charger?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a Dodge Charger, like a classic Dodge Charger, and it was orange, and then the roof had the Confederate flag on it.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I can see
Yeah.
the posters and the Dukes of Hazzard. Oh, okay.
But I was like an
well,
oblivious kid. It was just a cool car, and then they
Yeah.
had like a goofy
whatever,
sheriff.
dude. You're
Roscoe
not-
Pico train.
You're not
right?
advertising anything. If you like it, like no, that's silly.
Yeah.
Awesome
It's
show.
fantastic. Yeah, that's your history, by the way, not mine. So
Yeah, fair point. Yeah, so it was like Bo, and I always thought the name Bo was cool because of Bo and Luke Duke.
no, I don't think it's
We're
a
the
cool
two
name.
brothers of the Dukes of Hazzard, right?
What
That
up?
was-
I'm Bo Duke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My name's
And
not
then
cool
I
either.
also loved Chips a lot. Did you have that in Canada?
No, isn't that the guy that has the meme where he goes, "You're like," isn't that a Chips? Isn't that a cop show, an officer or something?
Yeah, it was a motorcycle. Chips is like California Highway something patrol, right?
No, I watched Cops. Did you guys have Cops?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But that was like the first like kind of reality show, right? Bad
Right.
Boys.
Yeah,
What you gonna
wasn't
do?
Survivor the
Oh.
first reality show?
Wasn't Cheaters the first one?
No,
Cheaters?
That was way
Oh,
later.
people that need glasses?
Oh my god.
What?
Just kidding.
Oh. All right, let's wrap it up.
Kill
Yeah,
it.
wrap it up. Okay. If you like the episode, please leave a rating and review on Apple, Spotify, whatever podcast app you listen to us on. If you love the show, you want to support us, you want to like do stuff like the scavenger hunt, still time to get into the Hockey Cards Gongshow Discord server. Please consider a $5 a month donation. Join our $2.99 support level tier on Patreon. Link is in the show description in both our Instagram and TikTok profiles. Also, you can get there through our website. Don't go through the App Store. Go through our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com. Click on the Become a Patron link or Patreon's website directly, patreon.com, and search for Hockey Cards Gongshow. Boys, we're on social media. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. And the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast is a production of Dollarbox Ventures LLC. Have an awesome weekend, and cannot wait to be back on Monday with you all. Baba Louie, take us out.
Bye.
Yo, it's the Gong Show. We're dropping the facts. Hockey cards on fire. No holding us back. Josh looking sharp, the face of the scene. Feeling pork chop pants, rocking it clean. Baba Louie in the booth, he's the man with the plan. The best producer in all the land. Gong Show Nation, let's hit the flow. It's the Hockey Cards Gong Show. Let's go, let's go. Wanna say them in